This week, we discuss May getting the big girl chair at Dispatch, Chimney having a secret-induced mentee bee,
Bucks love me anyway, crash out mic drop moment.
And the elephant in the room. No, not that one. The Save Your Baby one. Yay.
Have you ever watched something that completely rewired your brain chemistry?
A procedural network drama might not be your usual pick, but it's ours.
This is The Buddy System, a 911 yapathon hosted by three friends who have DM'd each other enough character dissertations to earn a PhD in media literacy.
I'm Han, coming to you straight from the characters' heads.
I'm Sil, bringing you to the observation deck.
And I'm Rachel, connecting the dots with my red string.
With our powers combined,
no stone is left unturned.
And no buddy is left behind.
This episode brought to you by Chimney's impeccable abs.
Hey Alexa, play Love Me Anyway by Chappell Roan. Welcome to Dispatch. What's on call this week?
This week, we're talking about Season 4, Episode 4, titled 911, What's Your Grievance?
Written by Nadia Abbas-Madden and directed by Brenna Malloy.
Director of photography is Joaquin Cedillo.
Oh my god, it's been forever.
Wow. And it originally aired February 8th, 2021.
Okay, so we're back to some calls of the week.
It's been 7 months, Rachel. Don't disappoint us.
So the first one we have is making a splash at the block party, where a nosy and disgruntled woman calls 911 to report her irritation with her neighbors at a block party, but her non-emergency turns into a homicide investigation when she unexpectedly gets shot and found dead in her pool. And then we also have, thank you, I thrive off laughs, I'm like Tinkerbell. And then we have Truth Bombs Away, where the 118 get called in to assist with a bomb threat. And when Chimney runs into the man responsible, he's able to diffuse the situation and unburden himself of the deep, dark secret he's been keeping from Buck. Yay! Okay,
Yay.
So general thoughts, but first a disclaimer. We haven't recorded one of the rewatches since like November, so it's been like 7-ish months. We're a little rusty, so forgive us.
It's June 7th.
Yes, it is June 7th.
Don't let the calendars behind us fool you. I'm not changing it for June because there's a straight man on there. So I'm keeping my assorted fruits until it's July.
Did we really want to change it?
I'm not changing that shit.
No,
I'm looking at a straight man all month.
I'm asking the audience. I don't care if it was going to be 2 straight months of the fruity platoon, okay? We need it.
It's Pride Month.
It's Pride Month.
Exactly.
And then it's also Oliver's birthday during Pride Month. And then
Rachel's birthday.
And then
Buddy's
it's Han's birthday
It's
in
true.
July. So we needed the fruity platoon.
That one's appropriate.
Yeah.
Fruity platoon.
Or the fruity squad. The fruity gang. For June and July.
I'm keeping all of this in.
I know.
I know. That's why I said it.
Anyways, so like I was saying, forgive us a little bit if we're a little rusty on the rewatches because it's been so long and we're like, how do we do these again?
It's taken us
a couple hours.
Several hours since we even sat down to start recording.
Hey, we were supposed to record this on Sunday night. It is now a Monday morning.
Hush, hush, hush.
It's after midnight.
It's after midnight.
Okay. Anyway, we do also have to make an adjustment because for the past 7 months, it's been the Eddie system because we were deep in season 9, but now we have to shift back
deep
to our roots, or to my roots, which is, our special boy Buck.
Our special boy.
Remember how I start off the Buck sections and I go, oh, Buck.
Boy.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Get ready for a slew of those because these are some heavy hitting Buck episodes we're about to get into.
And we're so excited about it.
We are. Just like no pressure for this to be where we picked back up after 7 months off. So hopefully we do a good job and it's everything you've been waiting for.
I sure hope so.
I hope so. Anyway, general thoughts about this episode. I think this is one of the goated episodes of all time of 911.
Yes.
I think the absolute banger of a 1-2-3 punch of the acting from Kenny and Jennifer Love Hewitt and Oliver sells this story. I think it's so cool that the levity we always have to balance the things that have a more dramatic emotional arc with something that's lighter. But it's funny because the levity and that balances out this episode is also part of that arc. So it's
yeah.
it's like Chimney's having like a fucking mental breakdown like about the Buck plot that's unfolding unbeknownst to Buck. So I just think it's really cool how they did that, because normally the levity is like some other person's plot. Like it's you know, if the big heavy thing is plot A, and it's like plot B is the thing that's the levity, but it's like this is all the A plot and the levity is also in that plot.
They kind of do it twofold a little bit, because they do have that separate levity with the mystery neighbor case that like Athena and Detective Romero are on, which I do find very fun and like enjoyable to watch.
That's the floof for this episode.
That's a little bit of the floof. Yeah. And, you know, we've said we love Detective Athena, and she's at her best when she is detectiving, and we see it like which
it's so
is
funny.
perfect now that we finished season 9.
It's so funny where we're at right now with now we officially have a canon Detective Athena.
Yay. And I hope she like partners up more with Detective Romero, because he's kind of a delight every time we see him.
I love that diva.
So like there's that levity there, and it's also giving very like 2020, 2021 when everybody got into like true crime.
But yeah, I will just like circling back to the acting. I tweeted this earlier after I finished my rewatch of the episode. I was like, Oliver really should have won an award for this episode.
Yes.
I know like people always think of Buck Begins, but like for me, it's this episode and the delivery of the Love Me Anyway, like the breakdown and the yelling at his parents. It's some of the best work he's done, like even to this date still on the show. Like it's just incredible.
It's so visceral and so like deeply felt. And to me that whole part is synonymous with Buck Begins, because it like kind of transitions into it so well.
Yeah. But yeah, it never fails to make me cry. The whole like Love Me Anyway speech, it's so fucking good. But something I do really appreciate about that scene is, and I really noticed it I think for the first time, like how, like, I guess all of the layers of it, because I was listening to it with my headphones on, with my Apple AirPods spatial awareness. You know how like they make it sound like surround sound, even though it's in your ears. Not sponsored. Could be though.
Yeah, Apple, hit us up.
Apple, we're using your cameras.
So during that whole little breakdown, right? You hear like those little, the like spaced out minor key piano notes, right? And then like the growing strings, like as Buck's emotions are swelling, and like there's this like light percussion that sounds like a ticking of a clock, which is so cool. Or like, I don't know, like a bomb. Yes. Because there's so many illusions of a ticking time bomb, but like his emotions are the ticking time bomb, and they're exploding like in front of you in this scene. And it's just like, it just really highlights and underscores perfectly the emotion of that scene. And it's just like some of the best scoring, I think, in this show.
That is really cool. I was peeking at our shared notes while I was doing my second rewatch, and I went back and I just looked at like a little bit of that scene, and I was paying more attention to that. And that is excellent to point out, because I was
hearing it at this second or third time that I was watching it, and I was like, what is that? Because I had you guys here while we were watching it, and I was like, why does it sound like one of you guys are tapping? And then I was like, then it clicked. And I was like, oh yeah, it's literally the ticking time bomb of his emotions. Yeah.
I really love when the music creates an environment that underscores the emotion of a scene.
Yeah.
And that's perfect, because it helps ramp up the tension of this, like, you know, this fuse being lit of Buck about to just like go off.
Yeah. I think really I specifically wrote like time has passed, but he's never gotten over the neglect. So like it has been that like ticking time bomb, and just for forever, but like being confronted by his parents while he's in this like kind of vulnerable state of going through therapy and like trying to unpack all his shit. It was not the time to be confronted with that.
They were the match that lit the fuse.
I really enjoyed this episode. I think sometimes I do forget that this is not actually Buck Begins.
Yeah.
I have a hard time remembering that. I was telling these two, I was like, I thought the episode ended at Love Me Anyway. And then no, there's like like 3 extra scenes, and I'm like, oh, I never finished. As I'm rewatching this episode to prep for this, I literally just stop at Love Me Anyway. You're welcome, Oliver. You're the final scene. Cut.
She said it ends with the mic drop. Yeah.
Mic drop. Piggybacking off of what Han said, like the performances with Kenny, JLH, Oliver, they really bring it, especially Oliver, because of how, I know we'll talk about it later, but like it's very like that final line. Actually, that whole outburst is so visceral and it's just so good. You know, you just feel that loneliness and pain, and God, he does such a good job in doing that. Yeah.
He really does.
I do enjoy the floof of the episode because it's fun. It's fun to find out that a fucking dog that we have deadly corgis over here. So that's fun to find out that it was just the dog and nobody is gonna sue a dog for a death. So
I will say, you know how like we talk about how we like mouth along with the entire "do you want to go for the title scene?"
Yeah.
I do that with his entire speech in this episode.
Oh, you were doing that too?
Yeah. It's just one of those. It's like, you know, we love little Buck sound bites, but it's like this entire speech is a sound bite for me.
I think a little bit of his accent is also popping out, but we ignore.
Just a teeny bit where he says like something like our
or I think job, something.
Yeah, it's like our job.
Yeah.
And he goes a little like non-rhotic, which is dropping the R.
Yeah.
Just a teeny bit.
This, I think he stumbles into this because I think it just sounds like a South Central Pennsylvanian accent.
Well, yeah.
So it's like
it's unintentionally
we drop shit like that. He's unintentionally doing it correctly. Like he absolutely is not doing it on purpose. Nope. He didn't like take dialect coaching for this specific region, but I don't know. I never really noticed it.
His accent is like so flawless, but it's just like one or two things like every so often, and that was one of them. And it was
the biggest one I can remember is from 8/11 when he was like, competition with who?
Yeah, because it's usually on like a vowel or like an R, but I think in this case it's because. And I think we see that with other actors as well when they're in a scene and they're like so deep in the emotion and it's very heightened emotions. That stuff kind of falls away because they're feeling it so deeply.
Which makes sense.
In order to give like an authentic and genuine performance. And I think that's beautiful. So I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah. Circling back, circling back to some of my other general thoughts. I was laughing at so many of, because like I think, yes, I do watch this episode repeatedly, but like I don't exactly like. I think when I have watched it in the past, like I wasn't really watching it for rewatch purposes or analysis purposes. I was more rewatching for funsies. But I was like, oh my God, all the ticking time bomb references, the setting the clock. It's just funny. And it's just typical 911, like referencing a certain theme and like putting these little Easter eggs in the writing. But yeah, overall, a great episode. I love it. It's a good episode for Buck.
It really is. It's like one of the Buck episodes. I don't know what else I can really say that isn't like reiterating what you guys have said. It's just like, I think this episode is so rewatchable for like all of the reasons that we just listed above. And because it really like intros into Buck Begins, and we get so much Buckley lore for both like Buck and Maddie, and the introduction of Margaret and Philip Buckley, which I'm very excited to talk about. Boy, do we have thoughts. And just like, I love also how like the supporting cast in this episode, how everybody still has like scenes with everyone else, just like little scenes as like support, where it's not exactly like an ensemble episode, but everybody like plays a particular role of supporting like one character or another. Yeah, it's like, it is one of the 911 episodes of all time.
Yeah,
it really is.
When my friend Mel visited a few months ago, I ran her through a selection of 911 episodes, trying to get her like caught, like hooked on the show. It was just like the best episodes in my opinion. And I was like, oh, we got to watch Buck Begins. But I was like, oh, we have to watch the episode before it. Like, yeah, you can't watch Buck Begins without watching this episode. It's just like, it kind of is a two-parter.
Yes.
Like, this is a good standalone, but I feel like Buck Begins needs the support of this episode.
Yeah. And we'll probably talk about this when we get to Buck Begins, because I feel like Buck Begins, like you said, doesn't work without this.
Yeah.
This is the setup. Buck Begins is the follow through. That's done really well.
Yeah.
We're gonna need the jaws of life over here.
All right, moving into our Jaws of Life. It's been so long since we've done the deep dives. I'm like getting back into the articles and everything. What I think I'm going to start doing for the press articles is just kind of like touch on the articles that came out around the time of this episode. And I'll try to put in more of the quotes where they would maybe naturally come up during our character conversation, just to see if like that flows a little easier. What I haven't pulled out, I'll talk about now. So we just kind of like an overview for press articles. We had an article, 911 and 911 Lone Star, Aisha Hines, and executive producer T's Hens Balancing Act, A Buckley Family Secret, and More. This is by Meredith Jacobs for TV Insider. I think it came out between 403 and 404. That was mostly like kind of previewing what would be coming up. Then we have 911's Kenneth Choi on his hopes for a Maddie and Chimney wedding, also by Meredith Jacobs for TV Insider. Then we have 911 Kenneth Choi on Chimney, also exploding over the Buckley family's deep dark secret, by Jennifer Moss for The Wrap. And these are a couple quotes that I want to pull from that article. I also love when we get Kenny Choi press because it feels like he doesn't do a lot of interviews. And it makes sense that they would pull him for this episode because it was very like Chimney focused, and like it's Buck focused too, but it's very like Chimney is the one with the secret and holding it in. And I think we'll get a lot of Oliver articles next week. So there's just a couple quotes from the Wrap article that I wanted to pull out, and the rest we'll talk about a little later. So Kenny said, I think everybody has been in a position where you have to choose between your friends and your partner in life, and that's happening here. And it's a lot of stress for Chimney. It's a huge struggle because apparently everyone knows that Chimney is just a blabbermouth. He's the one person you can count on. I think we all have a friend like this as well. You know, that if you want a secret to get out, just tell this one person. Don't tell anyone else. And for sure, this person will tell everybody. So him coming to terms with trying to keep a promise to the love of his life, holding this deep, dark secret from one of his friends and colleagues, it is stressful to say the least, which mirrors the kind of situation he encounters with the bomber. He's about ready to explode as Chimney is about ready to explode. But I love that quote because it just is so indicative of like Chimney, who Chimney is. And like we've talked about how like Chimney and Hen kind of are like the gossip girls and Chimney can't keep a secret for the life of him. So I just really liked this kind of general overview of like who Chimney is, like with like that role in a friend group that I think can be very relatable. And then he said later on in the article, that's looking a little more forward to what Kenny might want to see for Chimney and Maddie going forward, which I think is interesting to look back on. He said, I think Chimney will get a false sense of security. And once the baby is born, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of conflict thrown at him and Maddie as they're trying to juggle their lives. They're trying to juggle their jobs. Their jobs are so stressful. And one of the pitfalls with first responders is coming home and trying to leave that drama at work and not bring it into the family life. So I think it will be interesting to see how they juggle their professional life with the personal lives with this new addition. And I think that's kind of interesting to look at for the rest of season 4, kind of going into season 5, specifically for Chimney and Maddie's storylines once they have G. And also a little bit for season 9, maybe into season 10, because you have this aspect of them having a new baby with baby Nash and new job titles within season 9 and going into 10. And I think that's something that we've also mentioned in our season 9 episodes about how we would really love to see more of how they juggle that, like with their personal lives. And, you know, Chimney's captain now and Maddie is like supervisor at dispatch, and just to kind of delve into that a little bit more. So I think that's an interesting parallel here. Okay, now we can go into production just to talk a little bit more about the writers and directors of this episode. This episode was written by Nadia Abbas Madden. If you recall, she was a former 911 dispatcher. I know I mentioned it, I think, in 313 and 314, because she co-wrote both of those episodes, 313 with Juan Carlos Cotto and 314 with Andrew Myers, which was the taking of dispatch, a storyline, which we mentioned was kind of perfect for her to be co-writing that because she has like firsthand knowledge and always like an interesting perspective when it has to deal with 911 dispatch stuff. And I think that really comes through with May as well. And in season 4, she will also have written 411 first responders. Again, keeping kind of with that theme, like this is her area of expertise. So it's always neat to me, it lends like a little bit more authenticity as well, because it's relying on her personal background. And then Brenna Malloy is the director. This was the first 911 episode that she directed. I think she's also gone on to direct a few Lone Star episodes as well. So she also directs in season 413 Suspicion, the penultimate episode. And then she comes back almost every season after that. So it's 504 Home Away, 510 Wrapped in Red, 609 Red Flag, 616 Lost and Found. She is the director for 705 You Don't Know Me and 813 Invisible. So I always try to find like some of these through threads. And I feel like a lot of them are kind of very like Eddie or Buck heavy as well, which makes sense. So you have like 510 Wrapped in Red when I think Eddie decides that he wants to go to dispatch, and 705 is Buck's coming out to Eddie and Maddie, and 813 is part of Eddie's El Paso arc. So I think there's a lot of like really interesting stuff that she's able to direct with that like set of episodes, you know? And just a quick shout out to Lisa Ann Walter, who is guest starring in this episode. You may recognize her as Melissa Chimney. I don't know if I said that right. From Abbott Elementary. I know her as Jessie from The Parent Trap, which is one of my favorite movies. But I also thought it was kind of funny because I think in Rescue vs. Chicago, Oliver mentioned that they were, when asked about crossovers, Oliver mentioned that they were talking to someone or were in like very early talks about an Abbott Elementary crossover with 911 and how would that work, because they're in like Pennsylvania, right? And I just thought that would be really funny because it's like technically they couldn't be in the same universe because she would play two different people, and one of them is dead, but maybe it's a long lost cousin or something. I don't know.
Never stopped Kenny Choi.
No, absolutely not. So I just thought that was kind of funny. I love Lisa Ann Walter. I think she's a fantastic actress as well. I love when we get like fun guest stars like that. Did we have a needle drop?
Like there's two fun songs, but like I don't really have anything to dig into with them.
Yeah. I did love the tricky with the basketball. That was so
No, they were pretty surface level. Like there wasn't anything for me to really dig into there.
Okay. So we have a red string corner now. I've connected the dots.
You didn't connect shit.
This is so weird.
Is it?
I'm like, how do I do these?
It's been so long, Rachel.
I know. I'm just like running through these. I'm trying to like keep it rolling. All right. So in our red string corner, up first, we have a little Buckapedia for you. Things that I find interesting that maybe nobody else does, but you're going to listen to it anyway.
She's laughing at me. I was laughing at Syl.
Well, I was laughing at myself because you're my captive audience. So
truly captive.
So for Buckapedia, we have a reference by Athena towards Buck and Eddie. She called them Cagney and Lacey. So who wants to know about that? Because I did the research, aka looked at Wikipedia.
Me.
Oh, no.
Me.
Liar.
All the time.
So Cagney and Lacey was a police procedural drama series. It aired on CBS and it ran for 7 seasons from 1982 to 1988. And it is about 2 New York City police detectives who lead very different lives. One of them, Christine Cagney, is a career-minded woman who's single, and her partner, Mary Beth Lacey, is married and a working mother. Just think that's kind of interesting there. Do we draw any parallels, conclusions so far? Similar. So because there are some interesting things to maybe draw here, I am going to save the rest of it that I think would be maybe better suited for our slow burn section. So I'm using this as a teaser and also to spare Syl and Han. So you're welcome. We'll talk about this more later. But like that's the very like introductory about Cagney and Lacey. It was a detective show with 2 women as partners. All right, so a couple parallels. There's a point where May is talking to Michael and she needs him to be supportive. So she says like, "Dad up." And I love hearing that because we've heard that not really before because it comes after, but we have heard that again in season 8 when Buck tells Eddie to dad up. And I love that kind of advice.
I love people telling gay dads to dad up.
I didn't even make that connection, actually.
Hey, so the connection's right there.
Yeah.
Gay dad up.
Gay dad up. So it's just like, I love that tether of like siblingism between Buck and May. I think that's so great. And I would love more of that in season 10. I know we focused a lot on like Buck and Harry, but I think there's still more to be explored with Buck and May sibling. And then I'm pretty sure I was not able to like confirm on IMDb, but I saw the guy's eyes, and it's the bomb squad guy that comes in at the bomb threat call. And I'm pretty sure it's the same bomb squad guy that we saw in season 2, like 201 and 218. And I'm pretty sure he shows up somewhere else, but I don't remember. So I just love that consistency.
There's one bomb squad guy in all of Los Angeles.
Well, he's like the head bomb squad guy of Los Angeles. And I love that we get to see him again. I'm pretty sure that's him. It was a little hard to tell because they were masked, but
yeah,
it's all in the eyes. Did anyone else have parallels?
Forgot we did parallels.
Nay.
Great. Okay, so like a couple things of foreshadowing as well.
Wait, hold on. Is this even a parallel? It's more like a callback.
That's fine. Parallels, callbacks, foreshadowing.
Whatever. Okay. Look, when I was watching the episode, I didn't watch it for analysis. I watched it for funsies back in the day. Back in the day, it's not even been that long.
Back in the day, like a year and a half ago.
God, like I've been here for that long. No, but I just think about dads and cats now because I didn't realize, I think I completely like erased it from my memory that the way that the Buckleys are introduced is because they come in their like little RV camper.
Yeah.
Driving cross country. And so like, again, something I had completely forgotten, and they actually were able to call it back in 9/12, dads and cats.
Yes.
So like that's, yeah.
Yeah, that was a deep cut.
Yeah, that was a deep cut. Nobody likes the Buckleys enough to remember that shit.
No, right? Like, it was like, wait a second.
I remembered. I had just rewatched this, though.
Yeah.
But did you remember before you rewatched it?
Probably because I've rewatched...
You probably rewatched this episode
these 2 episodes a lot.
I just don't pay... I just erase everything, any detail about them. I just erase it from my memory.
I'm cataloging it, my case against them, you know?
Yes.
But yeah, there's that. That was a deep cut for people who don't remember that that's how they were actually introduced, and they really loved that RV and they had to sell it. Because now they're divorced.
And also so interesting because they did mention like going to see a therapist and working things out. And then it's like in 9/12.
I guess that shit did not work.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I think that's really interesting too, because it's just like there's not much to like pull from for Margaret and Philip, but like it's consistent. Come on. And then something else that I kind of clued in on for foreshadowing for season 4 specifically is this close call with Eddie walking in on Chim and Stan or Stanley in like the basement of that building with the bomb threat, and how something about Eddie like orbiting around these really big dangers and like noticing and cataloging that things are off. So it's kind of like it's like getting him closer and closer to like the center of the danger and the action, and like he's getting closer to getting in harm's way at the end of the season with like the shooting, right? So that's something I do want to kind of keep an eye on throughout the rest of the season as well. I know it's a short season, but I think that would be kind of a fun point to keep like looking at, you know? It's like how much closer is he getting every time? And then it's like, boom, shot.
Yeah, I'm sorry. The only reason why I'm laughing is because we now live in a post Tim Minear mention world. And his article that came out the other day where he was like, I don't plan any of this shit.
I don't believe that.
Subconsciously, you probably do.
Yeah. Some part of your weird little Zodiac killer brain is absolutely planning it.
Yeah.
Said affectionately.
Yeah, it's because like even if it may not be like consciously,
no,
there are elements here that, and again, we're looking at this through an analytical lens. So we are just like pulling things that we're finding connections with after the fact. So it may not be as apparent like while it was being written, but where it ends up, there's absolutely through thread that we can draw and find those connective tissues.
It's like I feel like I have to put a disclaimer. I know he said this, however, this is what we do. So,
however, wrong.
He did but he did say in that interview with Sophia, he's like, okay, but then again, maybe I do, because there's like a lot of backcanon and he knows all of it really well because he's been here.
That's the thing.
Doing it the whole time. So it's like, maybe he's not sitting there at the beginning of the season going, okay, and at the end of the seasons, we're going to shoot Eddie, and here's all the stuff that we're going to do to like foreshadow it the whole time. But it's like,
it's subconscious almost.
It's subconscious, yes.
You are building, you're building the story, and you're building the story every season and doing a lot of callbacks to previous seasons, and a lot of, whether it's intentional or unintentional foreshadowing, is just good storytelling.
Yeah.
So
exactly. It ends up being that way because he's so adept at building a narrative.
Yes.
That like there are things that are put in place that maybe don't show up and find like complete reason until later after the fact. And I still think that's a completely valid and still very intelligent way to build a story, because you still get there in the end, and it's buoyed by all of the stuff that like came before.
It's more impressive to me if it's not all planned out, but all of that foreshadowing is there. Still,
because that means that's all floating in like the think tank of the writer's room. You know?
Yeah, like I mean, even if he says that he doesn't plan it, like there's also still a team behind him to talk to and brainstorm and do these things and be like, oh wait, this thing, and then just like to build it up.
Building.
But anyway, my little bit of foreshadowing, which basically this whole episode is foreshadowing, but like I just thought the Buckley's caginess about like that baby box and the lack of one for Buck, like that was already, you know, something bad. Like you already know.
I mean, that was very purposefully like set up for that follow through in this episode specifically.
That was the plant. Yeah.
But like they really build it up well. Like, oh, it's like a MacGuffin box, basically.
Yeah.
And a MacGuffin is like a plot device thing. And so like the purpose of that plot device is to, you know, drop the bomb of the Daniel thing.
And then we have the elephant in the room. We got the elephant in the room. This is not as funny until you watch that puppy interview. But no, actually, it's still funny regardless, because Margaret and Philip Buckley bring an elephant for like as a baby gift for Ji-yeon.
It's like the little rocking
chair elephant. So they really brought in the elephant in the room. Elephant in the room since 2021. Not that elephant, just the elephant.
Different elephant.
The dead secret brother elephant.
Brother elephant, yeah.
The savior baby elephant, yeah.
There's always an elephant for Buck.
There's always elephants near him. Not about him sometimes, but
at least he got to conquer one of the elephants, you know? Yeah. The other one's still there.
Address me.
Address me.
Okay, who's ready for everybody's next favorite segment?
Wow.
Themes. Okay, we'll go over this really quickly. Most of this I kind of just copy pasted from our 403 because it's still the early days of season 4, like outside of the opening emergency. So we're seeing a lot of the same things kind of reiterated. But first and foremost, we have a theme of airing out grievances, as is the title, as 911 likes to do. So we have just kind of like everybody just kind of like talking things out and like unburdening themselves. So it's like Chimney to Albert, or he's trying to, like Chimney to Maddie, Maddie to Chimney, and just him like trying not to air out his grievances. You have Buck to his parents and kind of them to him and Maddie in return. You get the calls of the week that are very much on the nose of that. We also have some more planning for the future, which is one of the big season themes as well. And specifically like looking into the past and very much like family history, which will be hit on even more in the next episode too. But we get like so much of this Buckley family lore and how much that has kind of like, it kind of blows the door wide open to some of why Maddie and Buck are the way that they are. And again, we'll see more of that in the next one. Then we also have this season theme of perseverance, like pushing through the pain or the fear. And I kind of feel like that's self-explanatory, like for Maddie, like and Buck pushing through, trying to get on some sort of same page with their parents, and how maybe scared or reticent they are. The whole we're all in this together, or you are not alone, and how everybody needs someone to lean on. I know we're all in this together. And it's hard keeping a secret by yourself. Maddie did it for however many years, and then she unburdened onto Chimney, and he's bursting at the seams because he can't hold on to this one secret, and he doesn't want to be alone in this secret. We also have a lot of communication, and specifically with like therapy, right? We have Buck having those emergency therapy sessions. We have people confiding in one another, and that communication and or lack of communication, specifically with the Buckley parents. Of course, with that, we have secrets are a ticking time bomb where everything goes like boom, like holding something in until it explodes. So much of
Like go boom.
it go boom. Yeah, so much of this episode is just like thematically like waiting for that like bomb to drop, that mic to drop. For Chimney, for the Buckleys, Buck at dinner, just like literally every single thing, even when it was the first call with the lady at the block party with May, and it was just like that tension was ramping up, that call was ramping up, and then boom, the shot of the gun goes off. Like all of these things, there's so much tension, like up and up and up, and like waiting for these secrets, this communication to be unburdened, exploding. I love anytime they do like exploding metaphors in these episodes. It reminds me of 201 and 218. Just very Buck stuff too, right? And then because it's Buck, being seen is a big theme this episode too. Like even Stanley needed someone to see him and understand how much pain he was in. For him, that was Chimney. For Buck, it's also like Chimney sees him as well. Just like that aspect of being seen. And 1-2 punches where you get more than you bargained for. Well, I think this is pretty much the Buckley family dinner. They got more than they bargained for, and so did Buck, because he didn't expect to get that bomb dropped on him about a secret brother, and he didn't bargain for that one. So I think that covers it mostly. It's been a long time, but thank you for hanging in there with me. Now we can move on to our character arcs.
Who's cooking?
I open the floor once again.
Who's cooking?
I guess we'll start with May. So she's just still like a baby dispatcher, and she's like trying to get her feet under her.
Yeah, she's still a baby dispatcher, but she kind of graduates a little bit in this episode, right? Like she's proved to Josh, her supervisor, that she can handle herself. And that whole first call with the lady, I forget her name, the character's name, Lisa Ann Walters' character.
Delia.
Oh, Delia? Thank you. Where May is just like, no, I got this. Like the moment Josh was about to like step in to help her out. And she's just like, according to code, whatever. And just like how on the ball she was, handling such a weird situation. So May has proved herself in Josh's eyes to be able to graduate and get like the big girl seat in dispatch. And I think it shows like how much she's able to trust in her instincts and how she's been able to develop some of those instincts as well through some of these trials. I was about to say trials and tribulations.
Oh my God. We do have a cute moment with her talking to Michael, I guess like seeking advice. Meanwhile, he's just like, my baby just witnessed heard her first homicide.
Milestones.
I mean, I'm sure it wasn't like a milestone thing either ways. Like, are you okay? Like, it was, it was a cute moment, but like she's trying to find some kind of like advice or comfort. It's weird that she didn't go to her mom, but I guess it's because, like Athena does just takes off the uniform.
Well, and I don't think she was supportive of May
right.
No,
the time off and doing the dispatch thing regardless.
There was still a little like rift there.
So because she says that to Michael, she's like, no, you said you were going to be supportive, so no, you don't get to be concerned. You got to dad up and support me.
Yeah.
Which is totally fair. Like she is very communicative of her needs and what she expects. She's so steadfast in wanting to like commit herself to being a dispatcher and helping people in this way.
But luckily she has a backup dad for now.
Wow. Why'd you say that?
I just like reminding us that Bobby's dead.
No.
I don't need that constant reminder. God damn.
Wow.
yeah, she goes to her second dad, who maybe she should have gone to in the first place because he is a first responder, so would have like been more equipped to like be supportive in the situation. Then has a good talk with him, and she's like, yeah, so how do you deal with it? Because I can't do like what mom does. And he's like, well, and she implies that he's old, which is really funny. And then
oh my God, it's so cute.
Bobby does one of his like his dad jokes where it's like very like dark humor that I really enjoy. He's like, yeah, so I did a lot of like, you know, like drugs mixed with alcohol. I don't recommend that.
I love that he's so just like blasé.
Alcohol and Percocet.
Yeah.
The true cocktail.
Because he can he can do that now. Like
yeah.
That's indicative of like the place where he is.
He gets to mentor his stepdaughter. Cute.
Yeah.
And then I guess we're at dispatch, right? So she finally graduated from the trainee desk to her own actual desk, and she gets to, I mean, she's elated because she's just like, yeah, but I messed up that one call, you know, the one with Delia, but like Josh is like, no, you did everything that you needed to do. So like, you know, she's coming into her own. But then we get that bomb threat. Because of course that would be the call that you get on your first day as an actual official dispatcher, because that's what happens to these people.
Yes, of course. It's like Maddie's first day was, you know, an earthquake. And so first days are cursed at dispatch. Just something you should come to expect. But to that point, like it's her first day, like in the big girl chair, and she's able to kind of identify that this wasn't, you know, just a prank.
Yeah.
Whereas someone more
seasoned.
Thank you. Yeah. Yes. More seasoned, like Josh, was like kind of like not totally writing it off, but said like it could be just a prank.
Oh, listen, she got to use her Gen Z skills and the power of social media to figure out what was actually going on. So because like Josh even was like, you shouldn't be looking at the social media, but no, that definitely helped. She used her skills. She used her age.
And she helped save the day because of that too. Yeah. So like it's pretty remarkable as well. So at the very end with the little party at home, we do have May being celebrated for her little graduation and for saving. I think they said it was like 37 people, which is, you know, pretty good for your first day really on the job. And there's a little bit of a moment with May and Athena where Athena is deciding to be supportive because she's realizing like May is really serious about this. And it's a lovely little moment. And May says like she needed to find her way without Athena. And I loved, now having watched season 9, that's kind of exactly paralleled, right? Because in season 9, when May is graduated from college and she's trying to find her way and figuring out what she wants to do, she's trying to get that internship with lawyer Gabby, who Athena knows, but is so insistent, like, no, don't use your contacts to get me this job. I need to know that I can do it on my own. And that is just, I think, so indicative of May as a character where she's just like headstrong. She is Athena's daughter after all, and just like wanting to make her mark in the world her own way and find like her path on her own before she ends up leaning on other people, where like she does end up eventually being able to do that, but she wants to try doing that for herself first. And I really appreciate that like through thread as well.
For me, this is a through thread of continually in their relationship, like in Athena and May's relationship, where it's like Athena supports her, but doesn't like love what she's doing. But it's like a, you know, just good parenting and a marker of their relationship, just like over and over again, that like, I might not love what you're doing or agree with what you're saying, but you know, you're my daughter and I'm going to support you. And that, you know, at the end of the day is like what, as a daughter, you want from your parent.
Yeah, like kind of unconditionally, even if you don't always agree. There is one point, I didn't get to bring it up when we were talking about May and Michael, but I did also really love just the aspect of May. Like this is May learning her let go lesson. You know, I always love to bring it up. And Michael also references back to what Athena says in, again, 102 Let Go, where Athena compartmentalizes by taking like the job ends when the uniform is off, and how she's able to do that. And that's kind of what May is having to navigate a little bit as well. And I think we'll see continue to navigate. And just to like compare that with Bobby, because Bobby says like he's never been able to do that as well as Athena does. He can't compartmentalize as much in that way. So I just love also that consistency of Athena's character and again, just like the overarching lessons of like how people in these really high stress first responding jobs and careers deal differently with bringing their job home or leaving it at the office or anything like that.
Okay, Chimney.
Oh, Chimney.
This is one of my favorite Chimney episodes.
It is. It's one of the best ones.
He's so funny.
I also just like if I had to pick a character that I am in this episode, it's Chimney. And like, I think a lot of attention gets paid to the fact that he just like doesn't want to like know this big secret. But I think really what it comes down to for me, or what it comes down to for him and like how I'm interpreting it, is that like he shouldn't know this if Buck doesn't know this. Like Buck should know this. And the injustice of that is what is making it so hard for him. And we get that like right off the bat, you know, when he's having the conversation with Maddie and he's like, I guess I haven't had years of practice at lying to Buck. And she's like, I didn't have a choice in that. And, you know, my parents made me promise. And he's like, yeah, when you were 9, a promise that they had no right to ask you to make, by the way. Like just continually through the episode, it's very much like he does not agree that this thing happened to Buck, that it continues to happen to Buck. So yeah, part of it is like he's not good at keeping secrets and like this is a huge secret. But I think mostly it's like a moral injustice. And like I really think this is one of the biggest episodes for him as like big brother protector of Buck.
Yes.
Kind of where it's just very much like he's really feeling for him and understanding him in a way that like I don't think he ever did until this episode. So I really love that for him. Like I hate that he's so stressed, but like the way that he's kind of behaving in the episode of being like, this isn't right, like he should know it, and like I want to tell him but it's not my place to tell him, is very like that's where I would be if I was in that situation. And like how I feel about the situation, it's like he loves Maddie but he's frustrated with her for like having kept this secret and to continue to intend to keep this secret, and then burdening him with it because he's like, this shouldn't be a secret. That's the thing.
And it's not that he's irritated with Matt. Well, he's a little irritated.
He's irritated.
Like, I mean, he's irritated that that's not the thing that she's going to go over to Buck to tell him.
Yes.
But it's also like, I think Chimney does recognize, and what makes this so difficult for him is like, he does recognize how much trust Maddie is putting in him to tell him this thing that she's kept to herself for so long, and just kind of like, this is their true partnership. Like they're sharing everything. And I think he does recognize that, which is why he's trying so hard to keep that secret and to honor her trust in that. And it's all on top of that, it's also not his secret to tell, which makes it even tougher.
Yeah. He's in a tough position. This is why I really feel for our guy.
Yeah.
Really feel for Chimney in this episode.
Because he's just a blabber. He'll tell anybody anything. So to put that pressure on him.
Well, he did a good, give him some credit. He did a good job trying, not to say anything. He did a good job, even though it was killing him, literally killing him to the point that he gets to blab it out. He was like, oh my God, I could finally.
Stakes.
Yeah, like there's no stakes telling the guy who planted a bomb at his old, place of employment. But yeah, so he was like, great, 2 birds with 1 stone. I get to save the day and finally tell somebody because I need to get this off my chest.
Truly. I did have a quote about Chimney and Stanley, the guy with the bomb. So this is from the Wrap article by Jennifer Moss. And Kenny said, he's finally getting to get this off his chest. He's finally able to release the secret he's been holding on to throughout the entire episode. But part of that is also calculated. He knows he has to make a move. He has to make a move soon. And this is his way to get the bomber comfortable, to give him a false sense of security so he can make his move. But it's binary. He gets to relieve all of this pressure as well at the same time. And I think that is such a smart way to have Chimney, like you said, to kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
Yeah, he's diffusing 2 bombs.
Yeah, exactly. The bomb within himself.
Yes.
And the physical one.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, because he doesn't feel like he's going to explode anymore, like with the secret.
Yeah. So like the way that Chim just completely literally and figuratively disarms Stanley with his very like friendly nature and almost kind of like befriending him and relating to him about people lying or keeping secrets. It is just so quintessentially Chimney because he is endearing himself to this person who is intending to cause harm like imminently. And the fact that he's able to just kind of like let the pressure down slowly but surely, that, you know, everybody on the outside, Bobby and the bomb squad guy and Eddie and Buck are just like, do we need to go in there? Maybe he's like diffusing the situation. Maybe he's trying to talk him down, trying to like figure it out so he doesn't set him off.
You know, it's also a good glimpse into kind of where we're at with how competent and in charge Chimney is in season 9 as Captain Chimney. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it kind of felt like everyone did not have faith in him in this episode to be handling
it. Or they were
it.
worried.
I mean, they were worried, but I think they were just like Eddie was just like, he didn't want me to be there, but like, we should get him, right?
No. Yeah, like there was no communication about that, but it was just like,
I mean, what I was going to say is like to your point about Captain Chimney, like I did like the nonverbal but verbal communication between him and Eddie, because he was like, okay, I'll go let Cap know. Except, you know, without him saying, yeah, there's a bomb like right here. And I don't know, it just kind of, it does remind me of their dynamic in season 9 now, because they do have like this really good communication on the field with him being captain. So it just actually did remind me a little bit of it.
Yeah, like captain, lieutenant sort of thing, like second, like right-hand man. And speaking of how that like reminded you of Chimney and Eddie in season 9, it kind of, this whole situation with Chimney kind of reminded me of 218 with Bobby and the kid who blew up the engine, and how, I forget his name at the moment, and how Bobby was so immediately like throwing himself in like harm's way again to protect everyone else. And that's kind of what Chimney did a little bit in this, just like unflinchingly. He was just like, no, we're going to take care of this right now. I mean, there's a lot of like visual stuff there because we have that like trigger switch for the bomb, and whether that's like the dead man's trigger or not, which I think it was because he was holding it down the whole time. So just for Chimney to immediately kind of throw himself in the line of fire the similar way that Bobby did in 218, I think does also speak a lot towards Chimney and his potential for captaincy, or his like captain abilities that at this point in time he or other people don't really have faith in, but was always there.
Yeah.
And he just had to like trust his instincts when the time comes. So it's like the foundation of that is very similar to help propel him to being the captain that we saw in season 9.
But yeah, so this call is him defusing the bomb, but I guess like, do we have anything else to say about this?
Oh, just like the little bit at the end where Stanley was like getting rolled into the ambulance and is like, you're Buck.
Oh my God, like a celebrity.
It's real. And I was like, what? I thought that was done very humorously.
Yeah, well, and I mean, this isn't character analysis, but it is very well done the entire episode, because it's like the whole time who hasn't seen the episode yet, it's like, what the fuck is the secret?
What's going on?
And it's like this fucking bomber gets to know the secret and we still don't know the secret.
Yeah, that's such a great point about this whole episode, because it's like so often the audience member is kind of let in on a secret that like a character knows and other characters don't. But in this case, we are so very much, maybe this should go in Buck, but we're talking about it now. This puts the audience so in Buck's shoes.
Oh, yeah.
Because everybody's talking about something and we're not privy to anything. And we're left just like Buck trying to like, what is everyone acting so weird about? Like, we don't know. And
does this play about us?
Yeah, a little bit. So I do love that use of secret keeping from the audience as well.
It's because, you know, we already watched this episode, so we know what the secret is. I kind of forgot, like, this is you know, cleverly done for someone who's watching this for the first time, which this probably should have gone in our like general thoughts, but like because we're so, this is our rewatch. It's our rewatch.
Yeah.
So it's like our first time watching this episode is
yeah.
non-existent, gone.
I mean, I can remember being absolutely gagged. And while I was watching this, I was like, what the fuck is the goddamn secret? Like, how bad is it? And then the next episode happened, and I was like at the end, and then you find out at the beginning of the next episode that he's a saver baby. And I was like, oh, this is deeply fucked up. This is great. I love this. But yeah, it's Chimney is just like, he saw an opportunity and he took it on this call, and good for him.
Yeah.
I guess.
He needed to tell a third party with no...
Third party outsider with absolutely no personal interest in the matter?
Yeah.
He did. But he did try to tell his brother.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. Can we talk about Chimney and Albert now?
Okay. Wait. Why are we not whoring out this man?
Oh, well, yes.
It has been 5 years, and we have not whored out this man like that in a long time.
No. Give him another
season
secret.
4 was a great season for whoring out Chimney Han, and we need to do it more.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
I know we said this probably a couple episodes, not even a couple episodes. I feel like we said this at some point.
I think we said like at the I think we were saying it like at the beginning of the season, because I think I was like, whore him out more.
This season, like 4 or 9?
Yeah, for 4.
Oh, okay.
Because I was like, I think we see him shirtless a lot this season, which I love.
I just feel like we also said this in like a wish list item.
We did.
Was it the Bachelor stuff? Not the Bachelor, the auction stuff?
No, I think it was, around the time that we were starting to watch this season, and we were inserting into season 9. And then it was like, once we were seeing Eddie and Buck shirtless in episode 12.
The crossover.
Oh, the crossover. Okay.
And we were like, okay, this is great, but like, also Chimney, please take that man's shirt off. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's when we were talking about it, because I was like, it was kind of recent. We don't have wish lists in our rewatches, but
such a shame, because I think we have a request.
If we're making one, that's top priority. Yeah. Thank you very much. I do really love. Yeah, I love that scene. It's so funny.
It is. Albert just running away.
Which is so valid of him.
Yeah.
Like, Albert's just like, you are being weird. Like, Buck thinks you have a secret. And he's like, I do. I have to tell someone. And I can't tell anyone, but I can tell you because you're my brother. And he's like, no. He's like, but everyone else I work with. And he's like, I live with Buck. Are you fucking crazy?
Yeah.
Which I feel like is worse than works with Buck. Like, he lives with the man. And I think he also inherited the trait of like not being able to keep a secret.
Yeah.
They don't have good poker faces, the Huns.
No, they don't.
But I do like the juxtaposition between the two scenes, because I think the scene before that is like Maddie and Buck having a conversation, and they start with the whole like, oh, united front, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, the Huns...
Boom, out of there.
No. They are not a united front.
Albert said, you're on your own, kid, and pieced the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
Which is so fair of Albert. It's like, absolutely not. I have a chance.
I love that for him.
Yeah. Albert was like, I have a chance to opt out of this. I'm doing it. Like, Chimney doesn't really get to do that because like Maddie is his partner.
Yeah.
I do have a quote from, I keep wanting to say Chimney, from Kenny, from TV Insider, an article by Meredith Jacobs, where she mentioned that Chimney and Albert running off because of the secret was a nice bit of levity. And Kenny said, Chimney is straddling that precarious line of honoring his friendship with Buck and honoring his promise to Maddie. Absolute conflict of interest. As an actor, what's great about that basketball scene, as well as the firehouse scene, is I have to play it completely straight with all of Chimney's anxieties and frustrations ready to burst. But the end result is comedic. So even though there's that levity for the audience, Chimney is struggling.
No, he's not having levity time.
No.
There's no lightheartedness in it for him. He's having a mentee beat. It's funny for us.
It's terrible. And you see that, and you also see that like that Han connection again when we're in the station loft with Hen and Eddie and Bobby, and and Chimney just kind of like also, he's like talking to himself about, but if you know, then we can all talk about the thing that we know together, like having a break, like mentee be. And then he's just like, I gotta go, and like runs away just like Albert did in like the scene with him before, and just like runs away down the fire pole, like to keep it inside. And it's so funny, but that's like a very, I guess that's like a familial trait, And also just the part about how, Buck is asking Dr. Copeland about the de-escalation techniques. And Bobby says, like, what does he think? Dinner with his parents is going to turn into a hostage situation? And Chimney, like, fumbles the silverware. And is like, yes, that's exactly what's going to happen later.
And he feels like he's in a hostage. He is in a hostage situation, actually.
He is.
Yeah.
He's like, maybe we should all know. Like, I don't remember the direct quote, but like, I just know he was just like,
no, it was great.
It would be so nice if we all knew the secrets and we can all talk to each other about it.
Yeah, because like, I think Hen's like, there's just like, I look at Maddie and then I look at Buck and I'm like, there's a story there. And then Chimney's like, you have no idea. And then everyone's like, none of us have any idea.
Say more words?
Just too bad, because if we all knew, we could talk about what we know.
Together.
And then we'd all know it. No one would be stuck keeping anything to themselves alone with no one to talk to about some potentially explosive information they really wish they didn't know. And then he's just like, I gotta go, bye. And scurries off and goes down the fire pole.
Oh my God. You know what? Poor Chimney. He's going through it in this episode. Yeah. It's so funny, but it's also like so concerning.
It's not just the secret. It's that he feels like Buck should know, and it's like really weighing on him morally, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I really feel for him, but also like he's just so fucking funny that like it's like I feel bad, but also I'm laughing every single time at his misfortune.
Kenny does such a great job in balancing that as well, because like he just said in that quote, like it is played for laughs for the audience, but like for Chimney, it's all of that, like
it's so real,
like bursting inside of him, and the way that Kenny has been able to balance that, where it's like, yes, it is funny, but also it is very indicative of the warring going inside Chimney's mind and feelings and just like all of his being. Like, I feel like that's kind of a hard line to straddle because it could easily go one way or the other, but it was like perfectly balanced.
Yeah. I really love the conversation he has with Hen, if we're ready to move to that. So Hen, as she does because she's a genius, and Chimney is not very subtle, figures out, she's like, oh, it's about Buck. Like the secret that you're keeping, it's about Buck. And he's like, I would love nothing more to unburden myself to you right now, but I made a promise. And he's like, are you mad? And she's like, no, I'm really impressed. Like, you're growing before my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And then he asks her, like, do you think it's ever okay to keep a secret from someone you care about? And she's like, it depends on why you're keeping it. And he says, they all think they're protecting him, like lying to him means the truth can't hurt him. And she said, but you think they're wrong. And he says, I think there's a reason why he feels so alone. He's the only one not in on it. Also, I'm not in on it, for the record. Whatever it is, she says, you keep that to yourself. But I do love this line because I think it is such an astute observation of just like Buck's person and how he's always operated, like since Chimney's met him.
Yeah.
Like even once Maddie came back, like he's still, Buck operates, even though he has the support system, that he has his family, he still acts like he could lose them at any moment and he feels alone, right? And now Chimney's beginning to understand that. Because there's this like psychic damage that Buck has, and he's really beginning to understand it and is like, he should know this thing, like it would help him.
I think it's also like a good testament to like how they're developing this, like their relationship this season, because Buck was there for him at the beginning of this season. I forgot if it was like 1, 2, or 3 or whatever, but with
like the mudslides,
the mudslide stuff, right? And like with the pregnancy and Chimney worried about being if he's going to be a good dad or not, and Buck is like just there for him, being supportive and being like, well, yeah, you're going to be a great one. And then now Chimney knows the secret. And I think, oh my God, like having season 9, this was the issue that we were having, at post Bobby death. And now we have season 9 where we're reestablishing like the family dynamics with the 118. And like we had a little bit of discourse with the way like Chimney would talk about Buck in season 9. But you also have to remember, like, he ribs on him, but he still sees him, especially during like the 9/10, like the stuff with 9/10 and 9/11 with the auction. like he notices
And
when
9:15.
and 9:15, but like specifically like the auction, because he's like, you know, like Buck is the one who wants to be, you know, auction off like a slab of meat or whatever. But like, or like, oh, Buck enjoys this stuff, but he also sees like, and I think this is a good start of it, like of that developing through thread throughout the seasons.
Yeah.
And I guess my point is like he does see that even if he ribs on him a lot, like he still sees that Buck is going through it. So like I think they have like that little brother, big brother relationship where Chimney will rib on him, but he still
It's out of love.
It's out of love. He still sees him.
Yeah, I think so much of what you were saying is just like cementing Chimney and Buck's relationship dynamic. And I know we've talked in our rewatches before about how it seems like oftentimes the 118 doesn't always really see Buck the way that like we see him or like actually understand him. And I think this is one of those moments that like really just kind of like opens the door into why Buck is the way he is for Chimney, and he's able to recognize that and really see him for why Buck is the way he is. And the fact that he's able to understand that now or have a better understanding of Buck, I think helps solidify and perpetuate that big brother behavior where he is like ribbing on him a little bit, and that he is able to do that legitimately in good nature, good fun, because he understands who Buck is and why. And that's where you can have like both, right? It's like, I can make a little bit of fun of you because I kind of know where your line is now. And I know I'm not like crossing over that or invalidating you sort of thing. I think that's a really lovely point for their relationship to have. And I love going back to Chimney and Hen. I love that, you know, Hen is able to respect that Chimney's like keeping her out of the loop, kind of out of necessity. I do have another quote. I think it's the last quote, also from the TV Insider by Meredith Jacobs article. She asked, one of the show's best relationships is Chimney and Hen's, but they're both dealing with a lot at home and away from the 118. How will that affect them? And Kenny said, Chimney, being the dutiful friend that he is, recognizes that, and that is the reason you see Chimney reaching out to other colleagues. But that scene outside of the ambulance is a perfect depiction of Hen and Chimney's relationship. After Hen realizes who Chimney's secret is about, he feels awful for keeping that secret from his best friend. And Hen knows that if she pries even just a little bit, he will fold like a cheap suit. It sounds as if she's telling him that she doesn't want that burden of also knowing that secret, but in reality, she's supporting him by allowing him to keep his promise. That scene is about friendship and camaraderie and what we do for our friends to allow them to be the best version of themselves. I love their relationship. I think that sums it up like perfectly, because it is. It's like, no, you're not like they're best friends, and Chimney isn't telling her because he's trying to keep the promise for Maddie, and Hen like recognizes that and it's just like, it's okay. You don't have to tell me everything. I know you're doing something for yourself and the people you love that like I don't have to know. I think that was like a perfect summary of it. Okay, so Chimney at the Buckley dinners, it's real awkward for him. I feel so bad. It is kind of interesting though when Margaret and Philip are like, do they call you Howard? And Chimney's just kind of like,
stand up, my dude.
He is reverting a little back to like that performative aspect from like season 1 Chimney, where he's just like, yes, call me Howard.
It's the people pleasing fucking bullshit. Chimney, I love you, but stop. Like I get it, because it's like it's like the parents of your partner, but like they're not on good terms. So why are you trying to impress them?
Because he's trying so hard for Maddie.
Yeah, I thought it was more like, let's keep the peace, because if they're going to make a big deal about fucking nicknames, I'm just going to say that my fucking name is Howard and call it a fucking day. This is just one dinner, maybe 2 dinners. So I'm just going to be called Howard for these 2 dinners. And then they will leave and I can go back to being called Chimney or Howie.
I think it's path of least resistance for sure.
That's what I think it is.
Well, it is, because he's so like, he cannot handle confrontation. or conflict
avoidant.
Conflict avoidant. So that's where the people please, it's like conflict avoidant and people pleasing. They're like, it's a circle.
That Venn diagram.
Yeah, it is a circle. So it's like, yes, part of it is for Maddie, but I think part of it is kind of just like reverting to like, I don't know. To me, I understand what you're saying, but to me, it's just like not standing up for yourself because no one calls you Howard. Like you could have said Howie because like she does call him Howie sometimes.
Don't the Lees call him Howard? Could have sworn.
They might call him Howie. Maybe Howard. Yeah, like I think he can go by Howard, but it's just like I don't understand what these people's deal with nicknames is. Like, who doesn't like a nickname?
Who understands what their deal is about anything?
That's fair.
I digress. I think it's really funny that like he's preparing for this. He's gonna be like he has his own coping mechanisms, and it's tequila.
Hey, that's my coping mechanism.
Because do Buck and Albert show up together, or Buck just shows up? I don't know. Buck shows up and he has wine, and
I think they're already there.
Yeah, and then he's like, "We have tequila. Not sure why we need 2 bottles." And Chimney's like, "Those are for me. The 2 entire bottles of tequila. Those are for him to get through this dinner." Very cute.
Oh boy.
Yeah, he is just kind of sitting there trying to be supportive, which is good, but
taking a back seat.
Yeah, he just doesn't do or say a lot because again, conflict avoidant.
Yeah, he was never going to be like the kind of person to like, you know, stand up for Maddie or Buck or anything like that. So I think there is like a little bit of regression there, but also mostly because he doesn't feel like it was his place. And he's like trying to put on a good face for Maddie, who's like trying to like, you know, reestablish a relationship with them. And he's just like, whatever you want, my dear. Which I get. It's like such an awkward position to be put in, honestly. You know, like what else could he really do if he doesn't want to like kick up a mess?
I mean, nothing, I fucking guess. I don't know. I just keep thinking of Bobby with Athena's parents.
Yeah. Chimney was never going to do that.
That's the kind of, I think you can be conflict avoidant, but stand up for your partner.
Yeah.
In a way that is as respectful as possible when needed. And I just feel like, I mean, Buck did it, but I just wish we would have seen a little
more spine,
something from Chimney in either one of these.
Yeah.
In either one of these dinners.
I'm sure Kenny Choi would agree with them.
Oh, I'm sure he would.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the kind of shit. Yeah, this is just the fucking, I don't know, sometimes you gotta say something for your partner.
I do kind of wonder, though, if Chimney wasn't already grappling with this big, bad, dark secret where he's expending so much of his mental and emotional energy, tamping that down, maybe if he wasn't dealing with that so much, he could have been able to utilize some of that energy towards like standing up for Maddie and or Buck.
I hear you.
It would be different.
But I think because that was weighing on him so heavily, that already took up like all of his mental capacity.
I can see that, yeah.
So he's just like, I literally can't deal with anything else right now. So I'm just going to like lay low.
Yeah, sometimes it's just better, especially like, imagine he does start standing up for Maddie and then like something slips or like.
Exactly.
Just something that alludes to this secret just slips out, then there's more questions. And then there's the Buckleys being like, did you tell him? And then Buck is like, what in the fuck is happening here? And then they have to tell him. Like, it could probably like blow up even more than.
And then Chimney's the bad guy for like letting it slip, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Then Maddie's going to be like, why would you? Yeah. It probably would have been. He picked his battles.
Yeah. Well,
he picked
by not battling.
Participating. Yes.
Yeah. And he literally does excuse himself too. He's like,
again,
you deal with your parents on your own. For a moment when it's like at the beginning we see like, you know, like
Buck and
Maddie being like United Front. And it's like the first chance he gets to get out of that situation, he leaves early.
Which is fair,
I guess.
Well, I guess it is a testament to every Han for himself.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Like I totally get it, but yeah, there's some things that like he could have done some differently, but you know,
there's just too much happening for that man. And he was ready to have that mental
too much swirling in his brain.
Yeah.
That mentee beef.
He does step up a little bit in the second dinner, which is like the only thing that I think I can remember him doing in this dinner.
Yeah, he really takes a step back.
Yeah.
Which again, fair.
when it's very clear that like they made a baby box for Maddie, but they did not make one for Buck. And there's like this awkward pause, and it's like he's like, "Oh, you're still a kid. Like they're still probably filling it." And I'm like,
he was trying to keep the peace. Like
he was
trying so bad. Like,
well, trying to like comfort Buck too.
Yeah.
It's like, what can you say in that situation?
Mm-hmm. And the fact that he said anything at all, like to try to like, you know, smooth it over, it's like a people pleasing thing. But I think that was like him really trying to like salvage a situation that he was seeing going south very quickly. Mm-hmm. And he did what he could in that way, honestly. Like,
I just saw it as a like purely him trying to support Buck thing. Personally.
Yeah.
Not like he didn't care if like they were going to step in it. I think it was just like he didn't want to see them. He didn't want to see them say out loud what was very obvious.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Like,
oh, okay.
Yeah. Like he wanted to try to make Buck feel better, even though it was obvious that they did not make him.
Yeah. So like he interjected that because he saw this situation going south. So he was trying to like interject that to almost give it like a stay of execution. And
okay, I see what you're saying.
No, we were saying the same thing. No worries.
Madeline, who's not actually Madeline.
Not Madeline.
Because it's Maddie on that birth certificate.
Because the name on her birth certificate is Maddie.
I don't understand. They hate nicknames, but they named their daughter Maddie and not Madeline or Madeline or something. How does that?
Her parents make no sense. But you know what also made no sense to me? And I know that you guys are going to defend this woman. And I love Maddie with my whole heart. Mm-hmm. But girl, what the fuck was you thinking?
Telling Chimney?
No, inviting the Buckleys.
Inviting the parents. I know we went over this in the last episode, but I'm still like, this is your life. Look at your life. Look at your choices. This is all happening because you invited them. Like,
right.
And it's like, I don't know if there's some subconscious part of her that was just like, no, I want to make the secret come out because I can't deal with it. I have no idea like what was going on with her.
It's the pregnancy
hormones.
Was
the pregnancy hormones, and it was the...
Not thinking straight.
It was that she told them that Buck was in therapy, and why the fuck would you do that? That specifically.
Yeah. That's what we were mad about last time.
Why would you do that? Now,
he was like, I'm in therapy, and she went, let me call my parents.
I need to call my mom. Mom, my brother's in therapy.
Come do something about this.
It's probably your fault. Come make it worse.
No, I can't.
You can't excuse that.
I can't super logic this. No, I can't super logic this. I think it really is the pregnancy thing going on for Maddie. It's her maybe fear of starting a family and fear of being alone in her pregnancy sort of thing for part of it.
I'm sure she's scared of like messing it up too after like having the parents that she has. So she has like that fear of messing her own child up. Meanwhile, Buck is like, you raised me. So
exactly. I think also the thing about like telling them that Buck is in therapy, totally throwing him under the bus was just kind of we're kind of in this together, but also like I'm throwing some attention off me at the same time. I still can't fully logic it.
That one you can't logic. I don't think you can. But this one,
I totally understand her wanting to like build a relationship with her parents because she's so scared that she and or Chimney are going to mess up their kids. So maybe it's again that like going back to that the theme of like looking forward by looking at the past and kind of like bringing it right in front of your face. But it's just like, girl.
I mean, Buck says like, I'm still not sure who talked you into it. And she's like, no one. I guess I just want my little girl to have a normal family, you know, uncles and grandparents that she might actually know. And I'm like,
Buck is right there.
You have a whole found family, uncles right there, grandparents. Hello.
All of the 118.
The Lees are right there. You also have like Bobby and Athena, and you have all of these people. But Buck says, well, then maybe you should have gotten knocked up by a guy who has one of those. And she's like, that's not funny. No, it was hilarious and true.
It was really funny, actually.
Okay, wait. We're going to go to season 9. No, because I think it's so interesting that even in season 9 that Buck has to spell it out for her that you married into a family that has your back and that's willing to like fight for you and make it back to you, you know? So it's still like we're in season 4, but it's like season 9 is where she's like,
where she realizes that she married into
that. And maybe it's because she feels more removed because she is at dispatch, but like with like we have 311 with like the seize the day and it's like the family you choose sort of thing. And she's right there with Chimney. And that was mostly about like Chimney like choosing the 118 as his family. But like you'd think it would like relate to her a little bit as well, but I guess not. It's the pregnancy hormones.
I just had a 2D parallel.
Yes.
I mean, it's not really a parallel. I mean, Eddie is the one who's saying, yeah, this is the family we choose. This is the family we were, you know, we integrated into. And like he says that he realizes that I guess it's like 5 seasons later, this is where it finally like clicked for her. Eddie says this and knows this, but like we're in that situation. We're in the scenario where he's like, where it doesn't seem like that family is actively showing up for him. So like hopefully season 10, I know this is like has nothing to do with Maddie, but hopefully in season 10 we'll get an adjacent or like parallel scene of not him realizing, but like of the 118 showing up for him. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Like a chain of command thing, but flipped.
Sure. Yeah.
Similarly. Yeah. Listen, we can always find a way to make it about Eddie. Like I know we said this is the Buck episode, Buck season, but like whatever.
We can find a way by bringing him into the fucking episode. Yeah. This is still the Eddie system.
Anyway, back to Maddie. Anyway, Maddie says, like, maybe this will be a good thing, you know, you could talk to mom and dad, tell them how you're feeling. Why would you? It's like, listen, I know that she left and she wasn't there to see the continued neglect, but it's like, you saw enough while you were there and you've seen enough of like the result of the neglect. So it's like, why would you think neglectful while like you were there and while he lived with them would be suddenly better? When they've never even bothered to like show up when he's in like dire straits. I just like, I don't understand what's happening in her brain. And it's like, I want to defend you, girl, but this is one of the like 3 things you've ever done in your life that I'm like, you were not right for this. Like you were totally in the wrong for this. And I cannot defend you in a court of law.
No, it's this. It was stalking Tara. What was the other thing?
For now, those 2 things, because killing Doug worked out great.
No, I will defend that always.
She was warranted in that.
I think it was that and Slay the Moth.
Oh, Maddie girl.
The AI version, fine.
Yeah.
The telling someone to kill themselves,
questionable. Okay, yeah, that's the 3rd thing. No, that's fair. I think the only thing I can think of, again, because like I want to defend Maddie so bad in this kind of instance, is just like I feel like this really kind of shows her blind spot where it comes to her parents and Buck in how different her growing up was to Buck's growing up, where like she still may not fully understand how drastically different their experiences with their parents were. Like that's kind of how I can qualify this, you know, where it's just like she's thinking, you know, she's also still operating with this extra knowledge that like this is why her parents are the way that they are, because they experienced such a catastrophic loss so early in their lives, all of their lives. So I think Maddie is also just like has the benefit of operating with this extra information, and that informs a lot of things too. So she, I think, is just like at a baseline more willing to forgive because she gets why they are the way they are right now, because she saw the before. Buck never saw the before, and they talk about it at the very end of the episode. But Maddie, I think, is just like, I'm gonna take this opportunity for like tabula rasa, like clean slate, try to like start on a fresh new page. So maybe Buck would like the same thing, and not really recognizing
a fucking Hufflepuff ass with I can't.
Listen, maybe this is why I can understand. I'm not like defending it, but I'm just trying to like figure out this is like maybe her line of reasoning, because it's like maybe Buck would like that opportunity too. And I've like opened the door for both. I know I've opened the door for both of them
Shut up.
to be able to do this. Shut up. I'm trying to get in Maddie's head. And that's why like she told them about Buck being in therapy, and so they can be like curious about him, and then he can like confide in them and like be, you know, like work through therapy stuff. And
maybe we'll all shit rainbows. Like
I know. And again, so pregnancy hormones. It's a beautiful sentiment, but it's not based in reality.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely not, because she's just like, she's not recognizing.
She's not thinking about the real world repercussions for Buck.
She doesn't understand how traumatic growing up with her parents was for Buck, especially after she left and went to college, because he still had a number of years under their roof without her. Mm-hmm. And they weren't, you know, in a lot of communication about that. I doubt they've really like hashed it out in the time from season 2 to now between Buck and Maddie, the two of them. So like, I feel like that's what she was trying to do. It was good intentioned, bad follow through. I'm done now. You can say what you want.
I just feel like as a big sister, if this was like your pipe dream to make this happen, vet your parents and where the fuck they're at with like intentions to even be willing to do that for a Buck before she subjects him to a dinner with them.
Absolutely. Maddie doesn't really do a lot of protecting Buck in this situation. Buck does more protecting Maddie. Yeah. And I think I want to talk about that a little later when we talk about Buck, but I found that like a kind of interesting dynamic between the two of them, because again, Maddie is the big sister and she's doing a lot of protecting in the way that she's kept this secret, or what she thinks and what Margaret and Philip thinks is protecting of Buck by, you know, holding on to the secret. I know it's stupid.
They don't think it's protecting Buck. It's protecting them. They don't give a shit. It's protecting Buck.
To their reasoning is it's protecting Buck, but it's not actually. That's a logical fallacy. But Maddie doesn't really do much more than that. Like, she really doesn't stand up for Buck in the way like kind of a big sister would. Like, that's almost like more of what Chimney was doing. Not much, but in like a big brother way, you know, like we were just talking.
I also feel like she's just dissociating during some of these because there's so many there's so many digs at her from Margaret. Buckley.
Oh my god,
like, it's so bad.
The passive aggressiveness,
the WASP. The WASP. When people are like, we don't really know anything about their background. We don't know if like they came from money or like what their socioeconomic. I'm like, they were private school teachers, and these people are WASPs. They're from my area. I know this specific flavor of passive aggressiveness.
For anyone who doesn't know, WASPy is like it's an acronym for White Anglo-Saxon Protestant. So it's
I was going to say Protestant.
So it's basically like an acronym that is used to like describe, and this is just the AI overview, so forgive me, describe like a person, behavior, or lifestyle characteristic of traditional upper class American elite. So kind of a little like, you know, and I think that really does also come across in like the wardrobe choices. Yeah. For Margaret and Philip, like Philip has that like plaid button up with the quarter zip, which is very like northern, very like New Englandy sort of thing. Yeah, that's like the only thing I could think of.
It's that, and it's the how they chose to punish her to like make her come to her senses is to punish her to make her come to her senses was like just cutting her off.
Yeah,
which I don't think means like emotionally. I think it means like financially. So it really put her on an island there with Doug, you know,
which is
she didn't have any independence or any other source of support because they cut her off.
Like that part gets so underappreciated, like especially by me, because it's like that is really so indicative of like how they parented in the first place. So it's like instead of like bringing Maddie in closer to like let her know that they have like she has someone to lean on, they were like pushing her away again to like teach her that lesson, which obviously
figure out that you fucked up and then you'll come back. Yeah.
And it's like, no, that just pushes her away even more. And now
Mhm.
you've got like so much trauma like under this bridge that they're trying to build. And it just makes it even more difficult. The way that Maddie was like isolated from her parents, and she's still like, what a testament to Maddie though, and like how far she's come, because like she was isolated from her parents. She was isolated because of her relationship with Doug, and she's still trying to like build that bridge and a relationship. And that's like so beautifully optimistic and idealistic that I think she gets bogged down in that, like, or like her head is in the clouds in this way, where it's like, this is, again, maybe not what's actually best for you or for your brother, but like the idea is nice.
She did kind of reap some of the karma like immediately. Like her mom's been in the in their place for like 3 minutes before she's like, yeah, you're old as fuck having a baby. Like,
no, can we talk about some of these
Holy
digs?
shit. Like,
which, like, it's not funny, but like if it was happening to someone who you didn't like, it would be hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I was just saying,
Yeah.
I'm like, this is all very funny, but we're supposed to be rooting for Maddie, so we can't laugh at this.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be on their side.
Cross country because we, thought it was the safest way to like not put Maddie further risk, because it's a high risk pregnancy, because it's a geriatric pregnancy.
Like she doesn't know that. Like
Albert's face, hilarious.
oh my God, he had the best expressions.
Oh.
Albert did not want to be there.
And she's like, well, like we all need to be extra careful because she's over 35 and it puts her at higher risk. And she's like, the baby's fine. And Margaret's like, but you don't want to take any chances, not when you've waited this long.
Ugh.
Get off her neck.
I know. And that's when Buck is like trying to, come in defense of like Maddie and Chimney, and like just waiting for the right guy, the right time, the right guy. And
that's when they were like, yeah, thank God it wasn't Doug.
And they bring up Doug again.
Like,
it hasn't even been 5 minutes.
Like, number one rule when seeing your estranged children, don't bring up the husband that she had to kill because he was abusive towards her for years.
No, it's literally, they show up. Here's all the stuff that we brought you. We drove all the way here because we didn't want to get you sick because you're old as fuck, finally having a baby. Oh, we can't talk about the husband that you killed who we never approved of. Well, we hear that Evan is in therapy. Like, that's boom, boom, boom. Like right when they're
No, like I do want to mention that in Buck, but the way like Philip is like, I'm so happy to see you happy. Now, Evan, do you have anything we need to be worried about? Like, crazy. I'll talk about that later.
No, the other shot, the other shot fired was, oh yeah, we're going to therapy and you didn't want to talk to us about Doug. So Buck called. Buck is the one who told us about Doug. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think is funny because like the whole united front thing, and the siblings are actually not a united front because they're both kind of like throwing each other under the bus a little bit.
He was valid though. He was like, I didn't want you to find out on Dateline. Because like imagine the stink they would have made if they found out not from Maddie or Buck that happened.
Yeah, that one I think was just out of like obligation.
I think it was out of self-preservation.
Probably self-preservation, not obligation, because it's just like kind of like,
because they would just keep bringing it up and harping on it because that's the kind of people they are. They've never let anything go in their lives, and that's where Buck gets it from a little bit.
A little, yeah. It's just like, and it is so weird because like Maddie was like, so you were going to a therapist about my problems, and they're like, well, you wouldn't talk about them to us, and it's just like, you would think they would be a little more adjusted, like well adjusted
after therapy,
going to therapy for that, and it's just like they're not. But I do really want to go back and take a look at both of these dinner scenes with the Buckleys and Maddie and Buck, and go back again and watch Dads and Cads and how Maddie deals with Margaret and Philip coming in again, because she kind of like takes on a little bit of that, like, I'm gonna like people please and I want to like impress sort of situation. Like it's kind of similar.
I do think her thing when she's like, you went to a therapist about my problems, I don't think that was about just her being like, why were you talking about my own problems in therapy? I think it was like, you're not going to deal with any of the many, many things you should be dealing with in therapy, like how you're fucking terrible parents, how you've been lying about the child that died. Like, None of that. You're not going to deal with that grief. You're not going to deal with anything. You're going to talk about my problems in therapy. That's kind of, I was getting a little bit of that from that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that therapy ended in divorce. I feel like all of that shit did come up. So it's
eventually
natural. Like it even
it only took 5 more years.
Yeah. Another thing, I think another scene that I would like to rewatch because I haven't rewatched it was like them in season 6 when they did come back. Because I think like Maddie does have her own separate, if I recall correctly, like separate like scenes or relationship with her mom. That unfortunately we did. Well, I guess we didn't get to see some of that in Dads and Cats.
Well, there's this whole conversation that she has with her parents after Chimney leaves her alone with them.
Oh, Maddie girl.
Where they're like, Evan seems good. After you called, I was expecting, I don't know what, but he seems fine. And she's like, yeah, I think he's better at that than we think, seeming fine. So it's like, she can tell that he's not fine, obviously, because she knows her brother, but it's like, I think she's also realizing, oh, they just like don't understand him at all.
Yeah, I think so. And I do also kind of maybe feel like she was talking about
herself a little bit.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't understand him either in regards to some of this since as of like episode 3, I feel like she dropped the ball in some things.
Yeah.
He was fine. Like, you know what I mean? Like he was working on himself. He was fine. And then we started with you're going to therapy. Like, let him go to therapy, girl.
Mm-hmm. It's not like he's broken as she kind of makes it out to be.
Yeah.
And again, is it pregnancy hormones?
She's overthinking a lot.
That's my excuse for her, which isn't much of an excuse, but like I want to defend her.
She needs to go to therapy and stay out of Buck's business with his parents. Like that's what she should have done. She should have been like, I feel insane. I'm going to go to therapy, not call my parents and make it everyone's problem.
Mm-hmm. Really,
it becomes everyone's problem.
I want to defend her so bad, but like these are not good decisions.
No,
this is one of those things where I know like it's someone that you care about, but like I would should have stayed out of it. Should have stayed out of it. These are one of those situations.
It's just also just like I will blame her parents a little bit because this mindset of like, oh my God, therapy is like something's really wrong with you if you're getting therapy.
True.
That absolutely is a WASP mindset.
Yes.
That was probably taught to them,
especially from like 80s, 90s era.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Because I mean, their parents are probably boomers and the boomers just like
they don't like therapy. They think therapy bad.
Pull yourself up
crazy.
by your bootstraps. Just try harder. Yeah. Like
I do also think that this is just like very quintessentially, we talk a lot about how Buck is the fixer. This is Maddie trying to be the fixer. Like it is kind of a Buckley, or at least like a Buckley sibling trait. Like she's trying to fix her relationship with her parents, but she's also trying to fix Buck's relationship with their parents. And it doesn't need fixing because it's okay to like let go of the things that don't serve you. And she's just kind of being a little Buck-ish with like inserting herself and like, like hoisting this onto him when he was actually doing really well. And it's like, that mean like, look what you did. Now they have anxiety. Like that's basically what Maddie's doing. It's just like, oh, I feel so bad because it's, again, well-intentioned, bad follow through.
I will say this one line we can probably throw in for Chimney or just keep it here at the second dinner. But I think this is for Buck's benefit, but like everyone at that table is too thick to get that it's for Buck's benefit, I think, when he's like, Stan wasn't a bad guy. He just needed someone to see him to understand how much pain he was in. He probably wasn't going to blow the place up.
Meanwhile, Buck proceeds to blow the place up, metaphorically. Yeah, like that was Chimney really laying it on a little too vaguely for anyone to get it through their thick skulls. But again, well-intentioned. Yeah, but like talking more about that second dinner with Maddie and the parents and how I did find it interesting that, when Margaret starts getting a little bit emotional, like, you don't know. And Maddie's just like, Mom, stop. Like, she's basically reeling her mom back in and helping enforce that like secret keeping. And like, that could have been such a kind of perfect time to let that naturally come out. And it's just like
the only time she kind of interjects in that whole thing, other than like, and we were supposed to make it easy for you. Like we were kids, but like, But like other than that little interjection of like, you know, we were kids and like trying to pull her mom back, she doesn't really, you know, she just kind of lets Chimney say his thing and then she lets Buck like take
the brunt of it.
Yeah. Well, she just lets him talk because she just doesn't, I don't know. It's like she brought them there to try, but it's like she's kind of not trying. It's just very interesting to me, like what's going on.
It's a little bit like another way that I'm going to relate it back to fight or flight with Doug, you know, where we were talking about survival and stuff like that. And she was in her survival mode. So like, what do you do? Fight or flight? I think with her parents,
she freezes.
She fawns and she freezes.
Mm.
Because again, I do think, I know we were talking about a little bit regression for what Chimney and that like performative aspect and people pleasing. I think it's kind of the same for Maddie. And this is maybe where Maddie and Chimney are very similar in some ways, because Maddie had like all of these plans to like build that bridge and like, you know, really kind of work on stuff. But when push comes to shove, she just kind of like lets the status quo remain as it is and not have any pushback. So it's like she is fawning and kind of like reverting a little bit back into herself, where she's just taking these passive aggressive comments that like Margaret is throwing her way and not like standing up for herself.
She doesn't stand up for Buck either.
No, because she's fawning and freezing. So it's like this person that we've seen Maddie develop into, who is very strong. Like we saw her take on Doug. We saw her like slay the monster, you know, like her own monsters. We saw her stand up for other women who were in similar situations with Tara. Again, good intentions, bad follow through, but she literally does nothing when it's in front of her parents. She just kind of like sits back and takes it. So I think it's just like she reverts into that, and she almost like she helps them keep that status quo with the secret and everything like that when she like reels her mom back in. So I think she really is just like regressing in that way of like survival mode. This is how she had to survive growing up. So like Buck became like the center of attention in kind of like bad ways, because she was trying to like either keep the peace or just like kind of fade into the background. And I think that's a little bit of a window of how she was when in adolescence. That got a little like psychoanalytic, but
no,
it's just like she really wasn't being the Maddie that we have come to see.
No, she wasn't advocating for anyone.
Yeah, advocating
she wasn't
is a great
doing
way
what she said she wanted to do, which was like try. It's like she wasn't trying. She was just kind of sitting there and like being a bystander in her life,
which she did for so long with Doug.
Yeah.
Like again, I think it's just that thing. Just revert.
So then we have like, we're gonna have to discuss this again next episode, so we don't have to get that deep into it. But this is when you finally find out part of the secret.
Not the full secret.
You don't find out the save your baby part until.
But wait, there's more.
Yeah, but wait, there's more to the secret. It's actually worse than you think. It isn't just secret dead brother. It's secret dead brother, and the only reason you exist was to save him.
Ooh.
But yeah, this is where you find out, and it's like he comes over to like apologize for leaving her and like storming out like that, and then he's like going through the baby box, and he's just like, I didn't know like mom and dad were this sentimental, and she's like, oh, they used to be different, and he's like, really? She's like, yeah, they used to be happier, and he's looking through pictures and he finds a picture of a kid that looks like him. And he's like, this doesn't look like our house. Like, when was this taken? Looks at the date on the back. He's like, I wasn't even born yet. And she's like dissociating so hard.
Yeah.
But it's like, I find it hard to believe that she didn't look through that baby box and see that picture in there. And then she saw him pick it up. It's like, was she just letting it happen?
I mean, after a dinner like that, I would have just left that there and not look at it or like maybe ignored it. He's the one who pulled it out, right?
She says, that's not supposed to be in there. And he's like, oh, no pictures of me allowed in your baby box.
I kind of took that as like they basically erased all reference to Daniel's existence. So like it that was like one thing that they missed. Like just kind of, you know, iconoclast, like just like washed away all reference to him, all pictures, all anything, and it was just like that was swept under the rug. They didn't intend to leave that in there. Yeah. So she is disassociating really hard. I do love what she says to Buck beforehand. And I think this part of the conversation right before that is the most like Maddie she is in this entire episode, where she actually it kind of like steps up and is like, you've never been a disappointment, is actually being kind of like the pseudo mom that she probably really was for Buck. And it's just like, this is the Maddie that we know.
Yeah.
She's giving him reassurance in the way that he needs. And it's so heartfelt and just like an absolutely beautiful moment between the two siblings. But it's like, where was that? Where was any of that Maddie? Like, we know, having seen the next episode, she practically raised him. And it's just like, this is more of a clue into that. And it's like, I wish we could have seen that in front of like Margaret and Philip and have them acknowledge that like Maddie basically raised their other son because they didn't want to have anything to do with him. And you know, I really love that conversation between Maddie and Buck. I think it's really beautiful. And then it kind of gets undercut by like, here's the secret. Oopsie. Oh no, you weren't supposed to find out. Like, how long would she have kept that secret? Because it was like, it was almost bursting from Chimney. It was almost bursting from Margaret. Like,
yeah, I don't know.
You know?
The only person that they would have had to dealt with it, you know, once the Buckleys left would have been Chimney. Yeah, I love how the photo inside the box really was that bomb, though.
Pandora's savior baby box.
Yeah, really was Pandora's. Oops. Oh man, savior baby box. Do we have anything else to say about that? It's just like, I think most of it's like Buck POV.
Yeah, most of it's Buck POV. I see what you're saying, Rachel, and I see why you love that scene. And to me, it's like,
I love that part of the scene.
Sure, yeah, I love that part of the scene, but I think it is like, I hate like sounding so critical of Maddie, but it's just like,
no.
And she's so not in herself. I just feel like it's the most bare minimum thing she could have said in that conversation. She's still barely there.
Yeah, like there could definitely have been more. I think
Buck's still like advocating for her and saying like, you know, you shouldn't have to like defend yourself, not to your own parents. Like, I'm sorry, I know you're trying to fix things with them.
Yeah, he shouldn't have had to apologize either.
No,
or felt like he had to. No. But we'll get into that.
Yeah, to your point, the only thing I'm gonna say, but I think it is one of those things that he still needed to hear, regardless.
Oh, for sure.
It's bare minimum, yeah, sure, but like
she could have said more,
done more soon. Like it's too little, too late.
Yeah,
but the fact that it was there at all was nice.
The only other thing I was gonna say was I think she's trying to recalibrate from all of that. Getting called old in the same.
Poor girl.
Yeah. I think maybe she just needed some time to recalibrate and then she could be big sister Maddie that she's supposed to be. But at the same time, you're still holding that fucking secret. So who the fuck knows? Thank God that bomb was planted.
Yeah.
So we can just get it out of the fucking way.
She could have benefited from some emergency therapy sessions. For sure. Instead, she was just like dissociating. Like for a lot of this episode.
Yeah, like instead of inviting your parents over, maybe she should have also gone to therapy. Maybe
I think that
maybe she and Buck could have gone to therapy together.
Sure. No, I was just gonna
like deal with this.
I just think that, hey, maybe if she went to therapy sooner, maybe we could have dealt with the postpartum. But hey, I know.
Yeah, I mean that
plot
was
devices anyway.
Intentional.
Yes. Sure, but like in universe for the character, yeah, absolutely. You know, and this probably was like kind of like, again, in universe, I'm not talking about like
logistics,
the writers actually knowing that they were doing this.
Yeah.
But like they're already kind of giving like her hormones are fucking this woman's mind up. So, you know, it's already started and she's
going up and down and up and down and all around. Oof, poor girl.
But anyway,
Mr. Buck.
Anyway, here's Buck.
Love him anyway. Please. At Eddie.
Anyway, here's Buck. This man was just trying to mind his own business, you know, try and find some self-actualization, go to some therapy, love himself anyway. And instead, he hears this grating voice.
Trying to tell everyone that you're fine and you're not fine.
I just feel so bad for Buck this entire episode. Like he really is just trying to like better himself.
And he just keeps getting thrown like curveball after curveball after curveball. And like, I think he reacted for the whole episode the way I think his reactions are so warranted.
So valid. This is one of the most valid
crash outs ever.
Like overall reactions of Buck like this entire episode. He's like, I just got back from Texas and you
invited our parents.
I'm sorry.
You're telling me now?
You invited mom and dad to visit? You're just telling me now?
And they were cross country. They would have had to leave like
3 days ago. 4 days.
Yeah. Oh, and she's like, well, you were in Texas and I wasn't completely sure they were coming. And he's like, you're just telling me now that they crossed the California state line and it's too late for me to talk you out of it.
Which I think he could have done.
He could have. And I think she knows that, or she would have talked to him about it beforehand.
Exactly. And that's why she didn't.
But I think this whole conversation where like he finds out is so indicative of just like he's so willing to do anything for Maddie, you know, especially if he thinks it'll make her happy. It's like, whatever, if it's a detriment to me, that's fine.
Oh, that's so Buck though, like self-sacrificial and just like, okay, that's fine, but you can't leave me alone with them. And to be fair, she doesn't, but it's all like united front. And she doesn't leave him physically alone, but she kind of like leaves him out in the middle of the ocean, like emotionally.
Yeah.
But that's where I think Chimney is like trying to act as that life raft as much as he can, which is not saying a lot.
He needed Eddie there.
Not his fault. That would have been really interesting.
Would have needed Eddie there. Could have gotten some Bobby energy from that man maybe. Yeah. But yeah, we'll talk about that in our best buddy section. So yeah, he came back from his little road trip, as he calls it in season 9, episode 13. He's like, yeah, our little road trip. and he's like, it was a natural disaster. Yeah, wasn't so fun. So he comes back from what he thinks is a vacation and like attacked with this information.
Welcome home.
Ugh. Welcome home to your worst nightmare.
So then it's that first dinner, right? And just like, again, I love the deep breaths from everyone in like preparation. It's just like Chimney, Buck, Maddie, they're all going like, oh, before they open the door. And it's just like, if you have to do that before you see your parents, that's not a great sign. No,
not a good sign. And it's just so awkward. They're so like, I think they're okay with Maddie, but like the way they are with Buck,
they're like strangers.
Is like if you're at a family reunion and you're forced to greet like your least favorite second cousin twice removed who you like had an awkward altercation with at the last family reunion,
like 12 years ago,
which was 10 years ago.
Yeah,
that's like what it's giving. Not like this is literally father, mother, and son.
No. Yeah, it's like
so awkward.
It's so estranged, like, and just like they're basically strangers, but not. Like, I know you're not a stranger, but you're practically one to me, and I know nothing about you.
Yep.
How's it hanging? And then they end up like talking about the weather, and it's just like, oh, that's not going well.
Oh my God, it
was pretty rainy over here for a while, but it's kind of dried up.
It's not now.
My God.
But the first thing they say is like, you look good. And he's like, so do you. And then it's, you're still letting people call you that. It's like, oh, an attack on my identity and how I perceive myself immediately.
Yes. The way they're so against nicknames and the way they continually call him Evan is so, it really is an attack on his identity and his personhood and who he's developed himself into, which is a huge, like, from point A to where we saw him, like, met him in season 1 to now. It's like a drastic difference. And like, even after this, like in season 9, it's even more like character growth. But it's just like, it's so diminishing to who he is, just like right off the bat, immediately, that it's just like, no wonder it, like, that grading starts so quickly. And it's just like Maddie's the only one that can call him in.
And Eddie.
Yeah, it's so like not respectful of who Buck is as a person and wants to be and wants to present himself. Yep. It is minimizing him and forcing him into a box that he's tried so hard to leave in the past.
Yeah. So that's the first thing they say just to him specifically. And then the second thing is, Maddie tells us that you've been seeing a therapist.
They have no tact.
And he's just like, she did. And if looks could kill.
Oh, if looks could kill, this episode, like, Buck is,
Yeah.
bombastic
He's
side eye.
He's the only remaining Buckley.
No, seriously. And a couple times, like, even during the second dinner, too, like, sometimes those shots where it pans to him and he's just, like, internally, like, he's keeping his cool on the outside, but, like, he's seething. And you can just, like, see, like, the fire in his eyes. And it's just, like, oh. But, like, he's on the outward, it's like, I'm cool. I'm fine. I'm cool. But, like, the eyes, like, really.
I'm cool. I'm fine.
The eyes give it away. It's just like, grr. Which is, like, it's just really good on Oliver's part.
Yeah, but they're just like, anything we should be worried about there? And it's like, why would he talk to you about that? Why?
Especially, like, the first thing out the gate. Like,
no, literally.
Develop a rapport first. You know? They came in.
Learn a single thing about your son, maybe.
Besides the fact that he's in therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And would rather be
goes by Buck.
Those are the two things that they know about him.
And has been in the hospital a couple times.
For what? They probably don't know. You know, it's like, it's weird because they come right in. They come in hot, right? Where it's like they come in as parental figure when they have not been occupying that place in Buck's life since he was like 18 or ever, really.
Ever.
And they just like assume this, like, yes, we're your parents and we're going to tell you what's best for you. And
like,
it's just like, no, that's so assumptive.
Even as someone who's on good terms with their parents, if my parents were like, so you're in therapy, what are you talking about? I'd be like, none of your fucking business.
That's therapist-client privilege and you don't get to know about that.
No, if I wanted to talk to you about it, I would. Crazy.
Like, no, you can't go deep like that quickly. You have to just like, they also show no interest for who Buck is as a person at this present time. They're not curious about him at all.
Well, no. And then he just gives them a little bit like, yeah, I'm talking, like, I'm just trying to like get ahead of like, cause the job is stressful, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, well, we've been in therapy about your sister. Like they just take that opportunity to like turn it into.
They make it about them.
Since they're like, oh, you're not like about to like kill yourself or whatever they think he would be in therapy for. That's like this emergency. Come visit us. I don't know what they were thinking.
He's not in imminent danger of himself.
But they're just like, oh, so it's not for a real reason. Let's talk about us and your sister. It's just so.
Ooh. They really do like make it about them.
Chimney just keeps excusing himself from the table.
Yeah.
There. That is uncomfy.
Like, I'm going to get some water.
I feel like that whole like making it about themselves. It was also kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, you're fine. We're also in therapy, so in it's not a big deal. Like not in a positive way, but in a weird like. Oh, okay, and you're fine. You're in therapy and you're fine, and it's just another testament of like them not knowing him, but like
yes,
right.
It's also like their really, really weird like attempt at
it's a weird way to relate too.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Exactly. Yeah. They're like trying to relate to him in this crazy, awkward way. It's like, you're in therapy? We're in therapy too. Like we're the same.
Yeah.
Like, we have something to relate about.
It's giving autism, actually.
I mean, actually, yeah.
Well, because a big thing, and I think neurodivergent people do this in general, but like people on the spectrum, it's like a big go-to when you're trying to like be empathetic and relate to someone, is you're like, okay, I can just be like, wow, that sucks. Or the other more often
I do that.
chosen option is, let me tell you my exact experience that's as close to what you're going through so I can let you know that I understand and I relate and I'm here for you. Do I think that's what they're doing? I'm not really sure.
I think it's with how awkward it is, where it feels like it's like a small talk. This is your estranged son. It's the small talk situation, and they're like trying to find a way to like relate and like maybe have some kind of something in common. Not didn't want to say rapport, but like something in common. I think this is what they were doing,
badly.
But badly. It was always going to land badly, but like the thing is that was what they were trying to do. It was never going to come off with good intentions ever.
No,
because they're just awkward. Also, like they're awkward. They're so badly awkward.
Yeah, and it's also like they're so kind of flippant about things and kind of like in their little like passive digs. It's just like, you know, just kind of like nothing really matters. And it just kind of like I think it makes Buck and Maddie feel like berated and talked down to, where it's like the tone isn't necessarily like intending to be mean, but it's just like it's so flippant and just like, again, not like without care of who they actually are or any interest in who they are and what they're doing, and just just flippant, which makes it seem like they don't care.
No, but it's also what I was trying to say was like this is their way of being. This is their way of talking down to them. This is their way of.
It's that WASPy like passive aggressiveness.
Yes, and having like passive aggressive, feeling superior, I guess, because they do bring it up so many times especially with Maddie about like, see, you chose a better one. I like this one, or you chose a better one, or like,
glad you came to your senses.
Oh, glad yeah.
It's a compliment. No, it was not actually. It's kind of like the Northeastern version of like, oh, bless your heart. You know? Like it's like that level of dig, but coming off as just like nonchalant, blasé.
Okay, so then at the next dinner, they open up and it's like Chimney and Buck, I'm assuming, but Chimney was like really telling the story of Stan, and his parents are like, seems very risky. Like, I mean, from what I hear, Evan has spent quite a lot of time in hospitals.
Oof,
triggered.
Well, even before that, like establishing shot on this scene for Buck, he's just like, they're almost done with dinner. He's just like pushing whatever food is left around on his plate. He's already dejected.
Yeah.
Like he's already not in a good place. And then it starts with like triggered. And yeah, it still seems like Margaret and Philip really don't approve of or understand even like the nature of the job, which I guess is like, bad parallel to like Athena, but she came around in the end and she's a much better parent. for like May, it's like, I don't really understand it.
Bars in hell, but yeah. And then anyway, Buck's triggered and he goes, from what you hear, because like you could have come and seen for yourself.
You really could have.
Could have taken their little cross-country road trip.
They don't do well in hospitals. Oh, we were in wine country. We could have been to the funeral of your, pseudo dad. Interesting that Buck does reach out, though. I mean, because like they could have also been there for Maddie, but they chose not to come after Doug died.
Yeah. You would think.
Yep. And then Margaret has her, I don't do well seeing my children in them. And sorry.
I love how we're all just like, we love Dee Wallace so much. She's such a great actress.
She does this so well, but it's like, man.
It's so like wobbly. Like, you don't know.
Yeah.
What did you expect us to do?
Yeah.
Like we did this out of love because she's fantastic. Yes. She really does it.
MVP
she really
does
this
on
well.
Supernatural.
Yeah.
Season 11, episode 12. Into the Mystic.
Into the Mystic.
Oh my God.
Listen, that was our first impression of her. Like,
as we said, like Maddie kind of like brushes that one off. Like, why don't you not divulge the secret that you've been making me keep for my whole life, basically? And then it's the passive aggressive digs and Buck sticking up for her because she's like, you picked a good one this time. And he's like, Mom. It's like, what? It was a compliment, Evan. He's like, oh, was it? Like, he's just not.
He's not having it anymore.
He showed up ready to play ball. Like, he was like, I'm taking no fucking bullshit at this dinner. He was on it, like every single comment.
The bomb was ticking.
Oh yeah.
Like, and it was gonna blow. I think it's interesting that what really sets Buck off is the dig about Maddie and not about himself. He uses the thing about Maddie to kind of like funnel all of his frustration for the both of them, because he's talking about Maddie, but he's also talking about himself as well. And just like, it comes off from them like so caustically. And he's just like, he's done. Not that he like lied down and took it, but he's just like, he's gonna let them know why, even though they're trying to be nice, it's so off the mark because they have such a lack of understanding of who their children are.
Yeah.
But it goes both ways because Buck doesn't understand why they are the way they are. And it's like, if Maddie hadn't like reeled Margaret back in and just kind of I feel like organically that could have been the moment where the beans could have been spilled, because like, you don't know why, because they never told him. So like, they could have like had that moment where everybody's all together and this big secret comes out, and Margaret and Philip could have had to basically answer for their crimes in real time, and then be able to like grieve as a family together. But instead they locked off part.
Buck still would have left.
No. Which is fine. But they could have had like a moment of like, you know, not necessarily saying like Buck wouldn't have left, but instead of doing that, where they all could have like had this conversation together.
I think I think it'll speed run a little bit of it, but I still think he would have had his crash out. He'd still be at the fire station, be, you know, the way he was at the fire station. It
just would have taken some of the blame off of Maddie.
And it would probably just kind of, Maddie would have had less of that, the way he was acting towards her. Like it
would have been more directed where it belonged with his parents.
Yeah, I was about to say that would have taken like a lot of that onus off Maddie, because she was the one to end up like telling him. And again, that's not her responsibility. No. She was 9 years old. And it's just like, just the way that Margaret and Philip like cordoned themselves off like emotionally from Buck. It's just like we understand why now. And Maddie kind of gets it, even though it again is not like defensible. But to Buck, it makes it seem like they never care about him. And their actions speak louder than words. And they're saying they're doing this like out of love, but it's not actually. They're so misguided.
They've never said they were doing anything for that man out of love. Anyway.
They were trying to protect whatever.
No, okay. They never said that either.
I'm inferring some things.
Okay, so leading up to the crash out is them coming at Maddie again, where they're like, oh, like, we never gave up hope that you come to your senses, and you did. Oh. And he's like, you never gave up hope? And Maddie tries to stop him, and he's like, no. Nope, united front. And it's like, oh, we already talked about it's not really a united front, but he's going to stand up for her. But also, like, I think it's a little bit standing up for himself, because...
Yes, very much so.
I think the whole baby box thing also was very triggering.
That was so bad, guys.
It was very bad. It's like, why would you give that to her in front? They just don't care. They don't give a shit about him.
No.
Unless he's dead. They care if he's alive or dead, and that's kind of like the extent of the caring.
He's in a hospital, but he's alive.
He's fine. Great. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that baby box thing is just like such an absolute disregard for Buck. And it's just like, they're so like, this is like one of the most like indefensible things like anyone could ever do, because it's just like they knew that they didn't have one for Buck.
They just don't care, Rachel.
They should have done it.
They don't care.
If they were so adamant in giving Maddie this baby box, they should have just done it like off to the side, not like this big show and tell type of thing. But that's just how this is.
No, but they're very showy because WASPs. And he's like, you guys didn't even go to her wedding. And they're like, she was making a terrible mistake. We told her that. And he's like, yeah, people make mistakes. It doesn't mean you give up on them, but you did. She married Doug and you cut her off. Again, like we did specifically use the words cut off because that's what Buck uses. So, and Philip's like, at the time we thought it was for the best. And, you know, Margaret tries to be like, we didn't know what was going on, Maddie, like we swear. And Buck, I think very rightfully, is like, you should have known. You should have known. You were right there in the same town. Like, how could you not know? And then he's like, actually, you know what? It tracks because you didn't know what the fuck was going on with us when we lived under your own roof. And he's like, maybe you never gave up hope, but you sure as hell gave up on her and you gave up on both of us. And then
the monologue of all time.
The monologue of all time. Like, just give Buck and Oliver Stark both all the flowers, because this is like crash out of the century, but like the most earned crash out you've ever seen.
It really is.
Yeah. He's like, you gave up on both of us. Oh, and he's like getting up to leave. And he's like, you know what? And one more thing, Barry Oliver. One more thing. You should hear this too. You want to know why I'm really in therapy?
It's like, I'm going to drop this mic and leave.
Yeah. And I don't want to try and mimic the performance because there's no way I can get anywhere close to it. But he's like, I've spent my entire life feeling like a constant disappointment. That's literally just like the core of Buck,
of
right?
Buck. They've made him feel that way from the get-go. And that's one of his core wounds.
Yeah.
And for his parents to instill that in him so young, jail.
Literally.
Send him to jail. It was basically neglect.
Literally, because they never showed him love. They never showed him care. The only time they showed him care is when he was hurt. Yep. Talk about this more in the next episode a lot.
Yep.
But it's like, how does a kid just grow up only feeling like they're a constant disappointment? Like that,
and not loved.
Like that's crazy. All a kid has to do is just like exist, go to school, like try their best, and you should be proud of them as parents. But
and love them for who they are. But
100%.
Margaret and Philip never, it's like they saw right through Buck. They never saw him.
They looked right through him. They didn't see through him because they didn't
know
the reasons,
him.
And then also because the reasons like of why Buck is present here today.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he did not serve that purpose that he was there for.
Yeah.
So like, it's kind of like, well, now I have this child that I have legally I'm supposed to take care of.
They did bare minimum.
So they did bare minimum with him.
Yeah. But they basically just like disregarded, neglected, essentially like threw him out with the trash.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they were grieving, but that's not enough of a reason.
Like, it's not okay.
No. And he's like, you keep talking about like our jobs and like how they're dangerous, but it's like, I have walked through fire literally every day of my life because of you. And that's why I'm in therapy, because nothing I ever did was good enough. Nothing I ever did was good enough. I've always felt like a constant disappointment. And it's like, he doesn't know why they've made him feel that way, why they've treated him that way, but he's about to. And it's like the worst possible reason you could possibly fucking think of. But it explains it all.
No wonder he's felt alone for so much of his life and why he needed to seek attention in ways that like maybe are not the most productive,
self-destructive, not productive ways.
Yeah, ours are actually self-destructive in so many different ways. And it's like this, it all I know it's like very kind of Freudian, but it all stems from this stuff because this is how he developed as a child. And and I'm sure we're going to talk about this more, but like
we'll talk about it so much in the next episode.
Yeah, but to exist in that kind of environment where like you are practically invisible for, again, like, oh my God, the most heartbreaking reason is just, I think it's amazing how well adjusted Buck is as is, like even when we met him in season 1, like.
But it's literally a miracle that
he's alive.
Died. Yeah.
It's literally a miracle that Buck is who he is in spite of all of that. Like, he could be the most jaded, bitter, like surface level fucking person.
And that's such a true testament to Buck as a character and the strength of his character, really, because yes, he had Maddie as like his pseudo parent. She could only do so much because she was a child herself. So like it really kind of goes into a little bit of this nature versus nurture. Like he had such a poor start to life, but this is just who he is innately. And he's someone who will fight for himself and for others and be like the kind of like sunshiny character that he is, that we've come to know and love. And that's like one of the most, and there are people in real life that are like this too. Like they've experienced these kind of things and are still like so strong in who they are, or like in developing themselves into someone that they want to be, someone that they're proud of, which I think we also see again kind of come up in season 9 and stuff like that with Buck being like, I like the Buck that I am now. And this is all part of that journey, but it's because his core pillars of self are innately like beautiful.
Yeah.
So after Buck says, nothing I ever did was good enough, that's why I'm in therapy, Philip says, we tried, but you never made it easy on us, either one of you. And Maddie's like, we were supposed to, we were kids, which is the only thing that she speaks up for. But, you did your one with that, because that is like the crux of it. It's like, it's not a child's job to make your job as a parent easy for you. Parenting isn't easy. It's the hardest job there is, but it is your responsibility to do like the bare minimum to make them feel safe and loved. Like that's it. And then Margaret's like, Evan, I don't know what you expected us to do.
Beautiful. Oh, man.
Oh, tears are happening. Wow.
No, I kind of made myself cry a little bit. I didn't know I felt so strongly about Buck.
Damn.
I did know, but I didn't realize. No, I knew, but I didn't realize it was going to like.
Oh, like, I know it's been a minute, but like.
I'm fine. Carry on.
But yeah, anyway, she's like, Evan, I don't know what you expected us to, like the verbal, like, equivalent of the 2000, like every other letter is capitalized.
I can visualize it.
Again, just such a great delivery.
I don't know what you expected us to do. Love you, D.
Eyes are glistening with the ghosts of her
Oh
past.
God, literally. And he just looks at them just like totally bereft. Like, are you fucking kidding me? What are you supposed to do? Like, as a parent, love me anyway. Even though it's hard to deal with me because I'm a fucking kid. You're still like, it's your one job is to love your fucking kid.
The way they talk about it, like that was the hardest thing to do, when just loving your child anyway is actually the easiest thing in the world.
Should be.
This is one of the best lines ever, in my opinion, and also the most heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oof.
No, it's because he's supposed to, your parents' love is supposed to be
Unconditional.
It's supposed to be unconditional. It's supposed to be the like safest love that you can always come back to and depend on, whether you have two or one or what kind of form that parent is in, whether they're biological or adopted or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like it's supposed to be unconditional. And it's not just that the love was not unconditional. It's just that like there wasn't any love or care shown.
They were ticking boxes basically of like how not to get caught in as neglectful parents and thrown in jail.
Correct.
As far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, no, everything was, let me show him, let me take care of this kid, like legally. Like,
house, feed, clothe, school. That's it.
They moved because of how everyone was treating them for having him to save Daniel. So they moved to like avoid that scrutiny. It's kind of like, I don't know, take your licks, man. Like, this was your choice. This is your life. This is your choices. Live with them. And they never did. They've never really owned up to any of it.
They've never taken accountability. The only time I think they've really taken accountability, maybe there was something in season 6, but like I think the most accountability we've seen was in Dads and Cads, which was like,
from Philip specifically. Yeah, being
Philip,
like,
but like,
we're terrible parents. We were in wine country.
Yeah, like, thank you for acknowledging that.
I will say, like, again, recontextualize, because season 9, I do like seeing some of how the choices that were made for Philip in this episode specifically, like you can still kind of like, you can see the unintended groundwork to basically what we got with Dads and Cads, for him to have that breakthrough moment. I keep doing this for nobody who the people who keep seeing, I mean, the people who are just listening, sorry. I am doing a lot of quotations.
A lot of air quotes.
We can hear it in like your tone too.
Yeah,
so.
It's just it is interesting to have all of this a little bit coming from season 9, watching this now. It's just kind of interesting. Which, speaking of, as you guys were talking about, like the "Love Me Anyway" scene, I just thought of Theo a lot, and I'm just like,
oh my god,
and it's hitting me a little bit. I'm not Rachel right now, but like it is hitting me a little bit because I'm like, oh my god, because like having Theo is we've talked about it in our specials, but it's going to have like, it's going to help Buck and heal his, I guess, inner child, or his like the past a little bit. Like he's going to be that, he gets to be the parent to his kid that he should have had, and love that kid unconditionally, because he is a little terror, but he gets to show that kid the love that he deserves, and that he deserves too. So he gets to give Theo the childhood that Buck never had himself.
Well, that's one of the reasons I'm so excited for the Theo storyline is because I'm like, this is going to be, there's so many opportunities for like therapy for Buck to really realize, I think, in a way that Eddie has, but we've never directly said as much, which is just like, loving my kid is the easiest thing in the world. And how come my parents
Couldn't do that.
Couldn't do that. Because it's not hard.
No.
So I really think that's something that we'll like be directly exploring. And I'm really excited for that. Cause like, it's going to make me cry. It's going to be great. It's going to be so therapeutic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really does feel like Love Me Anyway is just the mic drop, cut to black, credits. That's what it really does. It really do be feeling like that, but it's not.
They have to have the payoff of letting the secret out. And that's why I think it doesn't end there. But like it really is like the mic drop, bomb drop moment.
Good cliffhanger too.
Does go like after
boom,
Buck slams the door.
I think that's an excellent little moment.
Yeah, he mouths it. He's like,
yeah, it's so understated, but it just like really puts like the little like period on that scene, that whole scene, because it's like
it really is the thud after the mic drop. So
yes, and it also cuts immediately to Buck punching the heavy bag at the station.
It's also so funny because it's like Chimney, who's been bursting at the seams the entire episode, doesn't blow up, but Buck does about it. So like kind of Buck beat him to the punch that and Chimney stayed strong. But that might have been cathartic for Chimney as well, but awkward to be there. Yeah. Speaking of like so much regression in this episode, Buck says outright when he's talking to Eddie, like, I feel 12 years old again, trapped between my sister and my parents. And that really does give the impression that like Buck was trying to stand up for Maddie, who probably, again, like I said earlier, maybe might have been a little more passive in childhood. So like Buck standing up for her might have been like a more typical thing because he has no qualms to like stand up for what he thought was right and like get the attention all on him because that's the only way that he can kind of do that. And also doing so, like he has her back.
Yeah, I also feel like though, like this episode does really put into perspective for me, and this just might be as a big sister, as an older sibling, she might have been parentified, in being the person to a point, because then she's not there at all. To a point, she's parentified as in being the only person who's there to like give him the emotional support of like someone older who gives them unconditional love. But Buck is very much the older protective sibling.
Yes.
She's not.
Because she has like that history of fawning or freezing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's always, I mean, from their first episode together, he's like, being between you and anyone who wants to hurt you is exactly where I want to be. Like, he is very much like older protective sibling, even though he is 10 years younger than her.
Yeah. Like, again, Maddie was parentified, but I think because she ended up like assuming that role, so that kind of made Buck be like the older sibling, essentially, like in a weird roundabout way.
She's also got the people pleasing syndrome, and like, she's not standing up to her parents. She's not equipped for that, and I mean, and standing up for herself in the past, like with Doug and everything. She also wasn't. She was just not equipped for any of it.
Yeah. Like she didn't learn to fight until
later.
She got to LA.
And she got to fight back against Doug, but her parents were like, that was a different hurdle. So like this should have been her chance to do that.
Yeah. Whereas Buck has always kind of been a little bit more like fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's basically had to fight for attention. He's had to fight for love. He's had to fight to live basically for so much of his young life. So it's like and again, I think that just like helps illustrate his tenacity and like his strength of character again, because, he put himself right between his parents and Maddie for who knows how long. So,
well, the entire time she lived there.
Yeah.
Until she moved out.
Whenever he started. So probably like walk and talk.
I want to say 3 years old.
You probably. Yeah. But like very young.
Yeah.
And that's just like who he is. So it's like that regression thing, which is why he ends up blowing up at his parents, because it's that same thing. They probably had similar like dinners like that many, many times where it was just like Maddie just kind of like, sinks into herself. Buck yells. Margaret and Philip are just like, ah. And he leaves.
It's him, complaining about this to Eddie while he takes out all of his frustration on the punching bag, which is a healthy way to punch things.
Mm-hmm.
Edmundo, who's standing there.
At least he took a buddy with him. They're doing. Yeah,
he did.
He did.
And so proud of Eddie for saying things that I would say, because there were so many times in this episode I was like, is anyone going to say something that I would say in this moment? And Chimney a couple times, but Eddie really, like, this whole scene is just like, he's hitting the nail on the head of, I think, what needed to be said, which is just like, I mean, did you say anything that you didn't mean? Like, if you said what needed to be said, that's how they made you feel.
Valid.
It's valid. Yeah. That's how you feel. That's how they made you feel. Yeah. Could you have said it in a different way? Possibly, but like, it doesn't really matter. There's nothing to apologize for.
That's the most validity Buck has gotten, I think, in this entire episode. And it's because, again, we'll talk about this scene again in slower, but it's just like, it's because Eddie truly sees Buck for who he is as a person, just as is, like, nothing else about it in this way. It's just like for an episode where there's so much about like being seen or being like looked through, Eddie sees and understands Buck and gives him like really, really good advice. It's like, wow, this is like the most therapized Eddie has ever sounded. You know what? Hell yeah. Yeah.
My God. Anyway, moving on.
Again, he can give the advice, but he doesn't always take it. But
well, that is, and we've talked about this in our what would you rather thing.
Would you rather?
Like he does not. He gives good advice. He just doesn't take his own good advice and apply it to himself.
No.
Which is so. Could possibly be a little bit of the Bobby codedness too. But.
I was gonna say a Bobby and Eddie LOL joke about their dark past parallel in this episode.
Yeah,
is Bobby being like, I don't recommend doing the whole benzo alcohol thing, and Eddie being like, I've done the whole punching people thing. I wouldn't recommend it.
There they go again.
Oh my God, yeah. I love them.
Boppity.
The Bobby Eddie feather.
Is it Bobbity? What is it?
Bibbity Bobbity?
And it's a joke, guys. It's a joke. But what is it?
Bobbity.
It sounds like Bibbity Boppity Boo.
Yeah. Exactly. That's why it's fun.
Bobbity.
They're Bibbity Bobbity Boos.
Man, that just reminded me. I can't do it. I don't know. The camp.
Camp Ouija Wagon.
Oh.
Edie-ideo-hoo.
Thank you.
I was like, girl, what are you saying? Yeah, and then at the end, where Buck like apologizes for leaving her alone, and like he gets a little comfort from her, where she's like, "You're never a disappointment,"
which again is what Buck needs to hear.
He's just again trying to mind his own business, but like also be supportive of his sister, and he's like trying to be excited for her about the baby box thing, and then, goddamn.
Oh, you mean?
Would you know it? You had a brother, and he's dead, though.
What a bombshell.
More on that next week.
What a bomb to drop.
A bombshell has entered the villa.
A bomb has entered the villa.
A bomb. Just a bomb.
Oh, God. No, it's so bad. Because again, like Maddie should not have had to spill that secret, and but Buck is just like gobsmacked. He's just like, oh, this is so cute. Look, it's me. And it's like, that's so interesting too. I'm pretty sure it's the picture of the same kid that they used for him in the flashbacks from the next episode. But it's just like, oh, like a train wreck. Yikes. You see that like that detonator like go down to zero, and then it's like boom.
Can't wait to watch the light leave his eyes as he realizes that he's a savior baby. Cinema.
Poor Buck, man. Like he really is one of like the most characters ever.
Oh, literally one of the characters of all time. They gave him the most fucked up backstory.
They really did.
And made him one of the most lovable characters. Yeah. Love our guy. Anyway, shout out to our best buddies on Patreon.
Oh, yeah.
Hey.
All right. Thank you so much, Aaron, Alexandria, Alexis, Alma, Amanda, Amber, Amy, Annie, Anika, Anthony, Aradia, Asha, Aubrey T, Aubrey G, Casey, Christian, Dana, Destina, Duina, Elizabeth, Ella, Ellie, Emmy, Emily Jane, Erica, Evelyn,
Gabby, Gil, Gracie, Jane, Inika, Irv, Jen, Jin, Joey, Juan, Jules, Kel, Kenny, Kitty, Quincy, Leah, Leslie, Madeline, Marianto, Max, Maya, Mike,
Millie, Mishi, Nat, Patricia, Paul J, Pigeon, Poppy, Proxima Nightmare, Rachel, Rebel, Seffi, Sheila, Sherry, Stacy, Thedastus, Tina, TJ, Tristy, Vera, Wade, and Zachary.
We're about to start a mini segment about what if Eddie was at both of the Buckley family dinners. We might just pick one.
It's exclusive to the Best Buddies tier of Patreon.
So if you'd like to hear special mini segments each episode
and get a personalized shout out, subscribe to our Patreon. Okay, time for slow burn.
It's been approximately 84 fucking years since we've done a slow burn section.
Holy shit, that's crazy, guys. Wow, that was a slow burn of how many months now?
7. 7 months. Yikes. Almost. I think it's a little under 7 because it was like the end of November. But yeah.
Oh boy.
All right, Rachel.
Take us away.
Okay. Well, if you were intrigued about the Cagney and Lacey stuff and then forgot about it, it's back. Or if you skipped over that the part, if you skipped over deep dive, go back and listen to it. Basically, okay, so I introduced the stuff about the Cagney Lacey reference that Athena gave to Buck and Eddie, and it's a show in the 80s about the two New York detectives. One of them is a single woman, one of them is a married working mother. We alluded at the top there that it was that's kind of interesting also because you have two partners, and that sounds kind of similar to a particular Buck and Eddie dynamic. I mean, not the Eddie being married part, but essentially, So there's a couple things that I found kind of interesting here. It doesn't necessarily pertain to Buck and Eddie specifically, but I think it's an interesting conversation to have. And again, apologies, I did a very cursory rough research on Wikipedia. So about the show, the main producer, his name was Barney. Yeah, I'm going to say Rosenzweig. So he was influenced by the feminist movement. It was very big in the 70s and stuff. And there was a book that I guess he was recommended, I guess by his girlfriend at the time. It's by Molly Haskell, and it's called From Reverence to Rape. And apparently it analyzes depictions of women in film. And in that book, it also claimed that there had never been a female buddy film, which ironic. So I'm just going to call him Barney. So Barney decided that he wanted to make one. And apparently there was some, as things do in the entertainment industry, I think he was trying to make a movie, and then it ended up being a movie, or they decided to turn it into a series, from what I understand, kind of similar to Buffy, where it was like a movie first and then they serialized it with different actors. And I think for the first 6 episodes, the person who played Cagney was a different actor, and then they replaced her. So apparently, and I'm sorry if I read this a little bit more verbatim, apparently before the unveiling of that year's network's upfronts I think this was in 1982. So around the first season. So at the CBS upfronts, or maybe the 83 upfronts, it was announced that Cagney and Lacey had been canceled because of low ratings, but also kind of canceled because an unnamed CBS executive told the press, I think around the time, that, and I think I have the quote here, it's too tough, too hard, and not feminine about Cagney and Lacey. So it was seen as too harshly women's liberation sort of stuff, like that feminist movement. And
women as people.
I know. And I think this is part of the quote. They were too harshly women's lib. The American public doesn't respond to the bra burners, the fighters, the women who insist on calling manhole covers people hole covers. And these women on Cagney and Lacey seemed more intent on fighting the system than doing police work. We perceived them as lesbians, but they didn't use that word. They used a less nice word referring still to lesbian. I mean, it was, is the 80s at the time, but I don't want to say that because
it's still a slur.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's still a slur. So they basically canceled it because
it was gay.
It was too gay. It was too feminist and too gay. I think also some of the characterization of Cagney specifically. And well, they ended up like uncanceling it because of some public outcry and calling for it. And I think another one of the CBS shows like fell through. So they basically ended up uncanceling it, and it went for 7 seasons. And I just think that whole conversation is kind of really interesting when you look at 911 kind of as a whole, where you have like this cancellation, uncancellation, these two characters who are can be seen as a little more gay than was like expecting. And they did actually end up replacing the actress from the first like couple episodes of the series. And yeah. So as far as, again, very cursory, it's probably much more interesting than I made it out to be. But I think it is very interesting that they did that. And for famously equating these two women detective characters to being too gay. I don't know if it's necessarily like gay with each other or just like in general. I can assume it's together. Interesting then that Athena uses that, or like the writers inserted that to refer to Buck and Eddie, also partners.
Also interesting that Athena used it too, because I hope that woman's developed a gaydar.
Yeah, so that's why I wanted to bring some of that Cagney and Lacey stuff, because I didn't like fully, like I knew it was a detective show, but like looking into some of this extra information about it, it's like, oh, that is maybe even more of an astute reference for Buck and Eddie than you might look on the surface. So they're gay. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for the history lesson.
Yeah, you're welcome. I thought it was like really weirdly like kind of applicable.
Yeah, no, for multiple layered reasons in canon and meta. Yeah, so then we have, the typical married behavior in which Eddie just, like, he's in Buck's walls because Buck said, "Here are my walls." Like, know everything about me.
We're breaking down these walls, actually.
Yeah, like, he knows Buck's emergency therapy sessions are happening, and he answers for Buck when Bobby asks. Like, that's his partner.
He knows exactly what's going on.
Exactly. And, oh, wouldn't you know it? That's still happening in season 9, episode 17, when Hen comes to Eddie to find out what's going on with Buck.
Yeah. Like, they really answer for each other. And even, like, it's just so clear how well, again, for an episode that is talking about like, needing to be seen, and Chimney is finally seeing Buck for why he is the way he is. Eddie's already kind of seen that without having the family history backstory, and like he's always had this extra step up over everybody else about it. He even knows that it's Maddie calling, like on the bench. He's like, "Oh, Maddie, that's Maddie again." Like, he just gets them.
Married behavior. Always in sync, always just knowing what's happening.
Yeah, and then just that whole scene where Buck is really Buck working out. Eddie's just standing there, just wanting to be near him,
He's watching.
He's watching, he's spotting. So it's like Eddie being the voice of reason, but also completely on Buck's side because he has that experience and with dealing with difficult parents. And it's easier when it's not your own. And just like the way that Eddie, I know we touched on this, but the way that Eddie validates Buck's feelings is so like kind of gorgeous in a way, because it's like, yay, emotionally intelligent. But also just like, it's true. Like, Buck needs that validation. We know Buck like thrives off praise and validation, and nobody was really like stepping up and doing that for him as much this episode. So Eddie just like saying, I think, Han, you were saying it earlier, just like saying exactly what we all wanted to do, what we wanted other characters to do, to say to Buck, that you don't have anything to apologize for. Anything that you said wasn't true. It's, you were still right to say it. Like, it's such a perfectly supportive like partner role. And like the whole like identifying about like Buck saying, "I just want to hit things," and Eddie truly identifying with that. And just like, we're the same, we're simpatico, but don't do what I did.
I gotta talk about the looks.
Do it. Yes, please.
I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the looks. I'm sorry. Like, it's there. We have to analyze it.
I feel like we need a section for that. Just be like, subsection, the looks.
It's giving a little 201, you know, but a little reversed. Eddie's looking at Buck again while Buck is exercising and sweaty and biting his lip. And yeah, I don't know what's happening there with the looks, but the looks, LEWKS, that Eddie is giving Buck are crazy in that scene.
It's like
very supportive, you know, very supportive partner, but he's also like, this is great for me.
It's like assessing, you know, it's twofold. It's like, I'm enjoying this, but also real-time assessment of like how to, you know, navigate this conversation.
Why are you biting her lip? I mean, like, one thing is looking, the other thing is the lip. Why are you doing all that? I don't know.
Why are we doing the hand out, look up from under our eyelashes at you? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? Your mating rituals get more and more complicated. Can
we please?
This is the end. We have to talk about it because what were we doing?
No,
Eddie. Literally, we were watching this scene. We were rewatching this scene right before we started recording, and it started. And I was like, Eddie, now's not the time to be horny because you need to be supportive. And he did succeed, but he did look like he was turned on the entire time. Take from that what you will.
I really, really love the way that Eddie has his foot on like the bottom stand part of the heavy bag, and how he just like so effortlessly like stabilizes it just with his one foot when Buck is like kicking it with his full strength, and it like, you know, tips, but Eddie's got it. He's stabilizing. And to me, that's like, yes, aesthetically, that's so great, but also like to make it metaphorical, because that's what I like to do. It's just like such a great visual metaphor for Eddie stabilizing Buck in this moment. You know, just like that, like he is keeping him sturdy and steady and like validating him and just like has his back. He's not going to let him like tip over or anything like that.
Yeah. Love that. No, seriously, I love that actually.
And it was just like a great moment. Just fun to watch. Also,
I also, this is me reading too much into stuff, but hey, it's slow burn, so like, it's what we do. I do always go, why does Eddie walk away at the end of this? Just like, stand by your guy while he has his crash out. I think Eddie can only look at Buck working out for so long before he has to go.
I gotta go. Oh, dear.
Like, not consciously, but it's just like, I have to go do other things. Just pressing things that I need to do in this exact moment.
I mean, he did what he came there to do, which was validate Buck and make him feel better and like make sure that he wasn't gonna, you know, destroy that punching bag. And then he like made sure Buck was gonna be okay for the time being and left with a can't imagine why, like just sassiness, where it was like, okay, bring some of that like levity back in there, some of that like classic Eddie little sassy repartee. So that was like his closing line. It was the ability to like, you know, really, you know, talk seriously to Buck about like a serious thing, and then just kind of like infuse some more of that jokiness that they have so often as well, where it's like, okay, you're doing good. We're good now. I'm going to bring the mood up a little and also head out.
Supportive Eddie.
Yeah.
Pagny Lacey shout out. Workout. Married behavior. Go team. Go buddy.
Yay, very excited for next week's episode. Anyone who's expecting an Eddie Begins length episode, I don't think that's happening. But place your bets, I guess, on how long it's going to be.
I feel like
we'll see.
And I guess just to add, I feel like, well, Eddie is one of those characters where it's like there's so much to, because a lot of it is like internalized and not said out loud in like text. It's so easy to spiral and keep talking about it. But Buck has always been that character that kind of has like, he shows his cards and it's like right on the page and it's
floating on the surface.
Yes. So that may be why. But I also feel on the other hand, It's going to be almost a year since our Eddie Begins episode. We've got like a couple of months. So it's now June, July, August, September. Like 3 more months, it would have been a year. Not even. When did we even do that? August?
Oh, recorded it?
Recorded it in September.
Yeah.
Okay, then early September.
And released it
October.
Yeah. So we grow too. It's my point.
Yeah, it's also like this, I think because like we mentioned it at the very beginning, like this episode and Buck Begins are so like intrinsically tied. I feel like we might have been getting
listen to them together, and then
then
you'll get the length of Eddie Begins at least.
Yeah.
You know, for how long we talk about Buck and both of them, I'm sure.
Yeah, I feel like we were even maybe getting a little ahead of ourselves, like in going into some of the next episode stuff. But it's just because we know. Yeah, we really reined it in, but I think we did like do a lot of setup.
Kind of hard to like actually do justice to talking about this episode when we're not spoiler free without bringing up the Save Your Baby thing. So
yeah.
But yes, for those of you wanting an Eddie Begins length, just listen to
both of these
404 and 405 together.
I think place your bets and then see who gets the closest. Whoever wins will get something.
Yeah. Tell us how long you think that episode's going to be in the comments of wherever you're listening to this.
Mm-hmm. We'll see who gets the closest.
I'm just going to add, like, it would be interesting because, like, I think we are already talking about, like, the way he was raised. So, like, and we get into a lot of those flashbacks in the next episode. But, I mean, we kind of touch upon a lot of the meat of why, how. And so it would be interesting. But, yeah, anyway.
Can't wait.
Remember, don't keep a deep, dark family secret.
But if you do,
take a buddy with you. Thank you for listening to the Buddy System Podcast.
Can't get enough of the buddies? Subscribe to our Patreon for access to our Discord community, full reaction videos, and even more exclusive content.
And if you really want to make our day, leave a 5-star review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts.
Please come yap with us on your favorite social media platform.
We're at Buddy System Pod everywhere. That's BUDDIE System Pod.
Catch you next time. And don't forget,
bring a buddy with you.